Make your home merry and bright this holiday season. Enter the Home for the Holidays sweepstakes now on CIProud.com. You can win your house payments or rent paid for a year. Home for the Holidays is brought to you by WMBD, WIZZ, and these sponsors.
The Bob Grimm way starts with us.
The Bob Grimm experience, what I like is that, you put customers first, make sure we meet every expectation and make a long-lasting relationship with them so that, they know that we're here for them and for their friends and family.
Don't try to put someone in a car that is not going to work for them. If you don't have what they want, try to get it, the proper vehicle. Again, just treat people the way you'd want to be treated and a fair deal.
That's the Bob Grimm way.
Sheets Creek Saloon is your stop for great food and drinks in Spring Bay. Enjoy our delicious steaks, real Canadian walleye, crispy fried chicken, and our featured drinks in a great atmosphere. Sheets Creek Saloon, only in Spring Bay.
Okay. All right. Testing broadcaster audio. 1, 2. Testing broadcaster audio from Metamora here at Malone Field.
Testing, 1, 2. Rainy day. Going to be a good football game. Testing.
All right. Testing is complete. Let us know if we sound good and that there's no echo.
dives across the line. Touchdown, Metamora. Looking for the end zone. He's got it. Touchdown, Morgan Park.
Playoff tradition runs deep in Metamora, Illinois, and the whole town is out for a second round of playoff game here today. The first round of the playoffs, there's maybe some pretenders that could sneak in there, but the second round of the playoffs, there are no bad teams left. The Redbirds come in after a strong season in the Mid-Illini, looking to continue a strong playoff tradition after a win over Centralia. Morgan Park, the best that Chicago has to offer, comes down to Central Illinois and brings their fast and athletic brand of football and a very strong defense as well. Two contrasting styles is all set up to be a great game here in the heart of Illinois. And good evening, everyone. Jonathan Michael here alongside Dalton Carmine. And Dalton, we've been looking forward to this game for quite some time. We eyed it as a matchup that would be really fun to do if it were to come to pass. And what do you know? We're here, Redbirds and Mustangs.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it with good reason. As you said, two contrasting styles here, John, and the weather's going to play a big part because Metamora loves to go on the ground with the misdirections, sending just odd formations and whatnot at you. Morgan Park, they're going to air that football out with Marcus Thaxton, who's got many D1 looks and offers. And as I said, with the weather being so rainy, I would say that probably tilts in the favor of Metamora since they like to go on the ground so much. But you never know. Anything can happen here in Central Illinois playoff football.
You're going to hear us say it a lot today. The elements are the great equalizer. Metamora, maybe the underdog on paper, but maybe not so when this one plays out. We'll see how it all unfolds. But again, the Redbirds, a 23-9 win over Centralia. Morgan Park beat Tinley Park 34-0 last week. And Dalton, this defense, 7 shutouts on the season. They have almost their entire secondary is headed to play Division I football.
Absolutely. And just looking at their schedule after following that Week 1 loss against powerhouse in 8A Chicago Marist, they rattled off 9 straight wins and outscored their opponents 378-13. They gave up 2 scores in their last 9 games. Now, I don't know if we're going to see that here today because I do believe in Metamora's offense, but Morgan Park just brings such an intense defense that's going to have to make some adjustments and really take it to the Redbirds in order to walk out of Central Illinois with a win.
Lots of big players led by Nasir Rankin, the #1 junior in the entire state of Illinois. And as for Metamora, Dalton, we talked about the ground game been very strong for them. How about the offensive line? It has been a part of their offense has been a question mark coming into the season, but they've really done well as the season has progressed and paving the way for 3 talented ball carriers.
And I remember talking with you for last year's Metamora playoff game, John. They had talked about their big, strong, experienced O-line. They're still big and strong, but they are less experienced. They are starting freshman Evan Grove there on the offensive line, but I think they've really answered a lot of the questions that they had about the offensive line coming into this season, and it really paves the way figuratively and literally for the dynamic trio for the Redbirds running game to really get going.
And you're going to look at Stephen Petrie, the junior quarterback for Metamora, hoping to lead his team to victory, and some brave fans that are out despite the elements. It's a rainy afternoon here in Central Illinois. We'll see how it all plays out here in our WMBD Game of the Week here on CIProud.com. We'll take a quick break and be right back after this from Metamora. I'm here with 3 members of the Metamora Redbirds offense and defense as well. Evan Kyle, Stephen Peter, Jadon Cranford all here with me, and all members of Metamora's 3-headed rushing attack that many of you saw last week. And, you know, guys, I know that the rushing attack is such a big part of your guys' team and everything. You know, where does it all just kind of come from? Is that just the Metamora brand of football?
Yeah, for sure. You know, we have a long history. You know, power run's kind of our thing. You know, we like to dominate the offensive side of the ball by running it, you know, set the tone. You know, a big part of that's our O-line, you know, blocking up front, and then we have us 3 back there, you know, making plays.
Certainly, and Steven, obviously, as the quarterback, you're also a pretty strong runner yourself. You like to kind of go out and seek contact sometimes a little bit. Tell me a bit about that, and has anyone ever told you to maybe say, you know, hey, maybe avoid those big hits, you're a QB?
No, I definitely like going for contact. I don't think I really had any of my coaches tell me not to go for it. I mean, they know I like to run hard, and I mean, I don't think they have a problem with it. I haven't gotten hurt yet, so.
Hey, well, fingers crossed that you do stay healthy. And I know for you a little bit last season, you're kind of the 2-point specialist. You're also the team's kind of punter as well, and you kind of do a little bit of everything to help this team.
Yeah, I mean, just filling in where I need to. Just wherever they need me, I'll do it. It doesn't matter.
Definitely. And Jadon, obviously, for you, a lot of people looking at you right now, obviously you're one of the fastest guys around alongside, Evan. And just, tell me a little bit about your running style. I know a lot of people have seen it, but again, you're still only a junior. So, maybe people haven't even seen the best of you yet.
Just working, just trying to get open in the open field, just trying to find the openings and just running fast,
Definitely, it's all about that speed. And, guys, I know we were talking a little bit about some NFL stuff before we talked here. Maybe who's a guy, running back or quarterback, who runs the ball in NFL that you really like, maybe you emulate your game after?
Christian McCaffrey.
And why?
He's just, I don't know, he's a powerful runner. He kind of does a little bit of everything. He can catch, he can truck, he can juke. He just does it all.
Definitely. Steven, what about you?
I guess we're on the quarterback side of things. I think Tim Tebow ran pretty hard, so I'd say I like him.
It's a good pick. Jadon, what about you?
Bryce Hall, for sure, yeah.
Definitely. And, Jadon, obviously, I know you got the Illinois shirt on. I know you've been going to some pretty big-name colleges here, this fall. Tell me about what that kind of whole experience has been like.
It's been pretty good, going around talking to coaches, just the atmosphere and stuff like that. I really like it a lot.
Definitely, and obviously your Instagram handle, D1Jadon, does that kind of motivate you to, reach that level?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. I really, just had that level of wanting to get into the next level since freshman year, so just trying to do it now, yeah.
Certainly, well, he's well on his way, and also, you guys too as well, making a big impact with Metamora, but also looking to, move on to the next level too as well. Evan, I know you're looking, you got some offers too, I believe, right?
Yeah, I've been looking at some, schools up like around here, up in Chicago, some D2, D3, NAIA level schools. So, I'm not really sure what that looks for me yet, but, I want to keep playing, so I'm just keeping my options open for right now.
Eyes back up to you in the booth.
Central Illinois, we're going to overtime.
After 4 years of preps coverage in Central Illinois, Clutch Sports Media is ready for a new era. CSM Overtime.
What is CSM Overtime? We're going beyond the broadcast to give you in-depth coverage of your teams.
Your stories.
Your stats and standings.
Your highlights and action shots.
With your subscription, you'll get to see news and feature stories from all sports, up-to-date stats from around the area, and thoughtful analysis from our team of experts.
As for our broadcast and social media coverage, it's only getting better.
With your support of Clutch Sports Media Overtime, we'll continue to grow our free broadcast coverage with more sports, more games, and more innovation.
And thanks to our partnership with Too Efficient Media, your social media feeds will be filled with Central Illinois' best sights and sounds.
CSM Overtime will also give you access to full galleries from some of the most talented photographers and videographers in our region.
As the new season approaches, it's time for more.
More action.
More stories.
More coverage of all Central Illinois sports. It's Clutch Sports Media Overtime.
And welcome into Metamora here at Malone Field. What an afternoon here for some playoff football. It's a little cold, it's a little overcast, it's a little dreary, but that's going to all change here in just a few minutes as the Morgan Park Mustangs take on the Metamora Redbirds. And again, good afternoon, everyone. Jonathan Michael, Dalton Carmine here in the booth with you. And Dallas, it's such a pleasure to be, calling these sorts of games. This is one that I know a lot of people in the entire state are watching. Can Morgan Park have a deep playoff run? Does Metamora keep on pulling the upsets on paper. I don't know if they're really upsets that much, though, but we're going to see a great game here as Morgan Park tries to get ready. They just pulled in about 10, 15 minutes ago.
You know, I can't say I've ever seen that, John. You know, a team rolling up to the field off the bus in uniform about half an hour or so before kickoff. So kickoff might be slightly delayed for that reason. But, yeah, I mean, this is just what Illinois high school football is all about. You got a team from Central Illinois, got a team from up by Chicago, one of the best teams Chicago area has to offer, two contrasting styles. They're just going to battle it out here on the gridiron and what's going to be a really good football game any way you slice it, despite the weather elements.
Definitely. The road to state for Morgan Park, maybe a bit longer than what they would have anticipated or wanted. A little bit of a late arrival for them, but 130-mile drive, 2 hours and 12 minutes. Maybe it was a bit longer here this Saturday. Maybe you got some weekend traffic coming out of the south side of Chicago. But Morgan Park, not their first time down here for the playoffs. They played at Peoria High back in 2021 in the second round of the Class 5A playoffs. They still have some players left from that team that started that game. And guess what? They're starting today's game as well. Experience, the name of the game for Morgan Park, as we're going to look at the weather here today. And again, about 50 or so degrees. Earlier in the week, there was about a 20% chance of rain. I don't see a ton of rain right now, but it's going to be a factor here today, Dalton.
Right. I don't think exactly the floodgates are going to open, and it's just going to be pouring with puddles out there on the turf here at Malone Field. But it's going to be a nice, steady, cold rain throughout the course of this game, and that ball is just going to be hard to hold on to. It's going to be hard to throw, hard to grab. I would expect to see maybe one or two fumbles in this one, and lots of maybe more drop balls than you would expect. It's certainly going to play a part and probably in favor of Metamora just because they run the ball more, but we'll see how Morgan Park counteracts that. One more interesting thing to follow along as we progress through this game.
Definitely. Let's take a look at the Class 5A bracket here, at least the southern portion of it. He's going to look at Jamari Washington there warming up for the Mustangs. Obviously, this is the 1-9 matchup. Winner takes on the winner of Morris and Highland. Those are two teams that also have a very strong playoff pedigree. And Peoria High, they beat Thornton Fractional North in a big win last night, 52-14.
Yeah, Peoria High absolutely stomped Thornton Fractional North, and they will score themselves, I believe, a home game next week against, I would assume, Joliet Catholic, but don't push away SHG. That's a perennially good team. And as far as this game goes, if it ends up being Metamora and Highland, that would be an exact replica of last year's playoffs where Highland took home the win in that game, 41-37. You know Metamora wants their lick back on the Bulldogs.
They definitely do. Some familiar faces, but also some new faces. Metamora and Morgan Park don't face off too much. If they do, you know it's the playoffs. Class 5A, second round action coming your way here from Metamora. We'll take a quick break. Be right back after this.
Make your home merry and bright this holiday season. Enter the Home for the Holidays sweepstakes now on CIProud.com. You can win your house payments or rent paid for a year. Home for the Holidays is brought to you by WMBD, WIZZ, and these sponsors.
The Bob Grimm way starts with us.
The Bob Grimm experience, what I like is that, you put customers first, make sure we meet every expectation and make a long-lasting relationship with them so that, they know that we're here for them and for their friends and family.
Don't try to put someone in a car that is not going to work for them. If you don't have what they want, try to get it, the proper vehicle. Again, just treat people the way you'd want to be treated and a fair deal.
That's the Bob Grimm way.
Sheets Creek Saloon is your stop for great food and drinks in Spring Bay. Enjoy our delicious steaks, real Canadian walleye, crispy fried chicken, and our featured drinks in a great atmosphere. Sheets Creek Saloon, only in Spring Bay.
And welcome back to Metamora. The Redbirds on the sidelines getting introduced, and they're all ready to go. Such a strong playoff tradition here in Metamora, Dalton. You see all their playoff berths are on a banner along the south end zone almost every single year. It seems like they've also added their number 24 for this year as well, and they are pumped up and ready to go. But so many key players to watch tonight, especially for Morgan Park, Dalton. Let's start with our key player to watch for them, Nasir Rankin.
And Nasir is just an absolute freak athlete. And honestly, I could stop right there, but Coach James, one thing he said is, we're at our best when we get Nasir the ball and just get out of the way because he's so fast. He's Thaxton's favorite target to throw to throughout the course of any given game. He's got offers to a plethora of Power 5 programs, Illinois, Duke, Indiana, Nebraska, just to name a few. And a nice little NIL deal with Raising Cane's. That doesn't hurt either.
The NIL age. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. As for Metamora, our player to watch for them, again, all starts on the ground, and we're keeping an eye on Jadon Cranford, one of multiple backs to watch for them. He has been kept fresh this entire season because they've been so well-versed in the backfield, and he's also been very efficient. Those are just numbers from his last 3 games.
Yeah, that's well said, John. He is kept fresh, and just a junior, really burst onto the scene for the Redbirds last year, and his much bigger role this year is, of course, complemented by a few teammates, but we're going to be calling his name a lot. Cranford's got that nose for the extra yard, and he's going to really look to make things happen and wreak havoc on the Mustangs' defense throughout the course of this one, along with his teammates and that O-line.
And you're going to look at the tail of the tape. Morgan Park comes in 9-1, Metamora 7-3. Look at the points against for Morgan Park. Again, it's all that D1 secondary. Ahmad Grayer, Jovan Clark, Jamari Washington, all going D1. They only allow 4.2 points per game.
4.2 points. I looked at that and I thought it was a typo, John. I was like, surely that's not right. But my goodness, what a defense for Morgan Park. Some trickery here.
Onside kick to start off. It is recovered by Morgan Park. That was Lloyd Johnson. Our coin toss was brought to you by Hometown Community Banks. It was won by Morgan Park. They elected to receive. So, again, you hop off the bus. 30 minutes later, you got the football, and it's time to go. That kickoff also brought to you by Michael's Italian Feast. I want to thank them and all of our other sponsors here that make today's broadcast possible. So now Marcus Thaxton and the Mustang offense will take over, and Thaxton's going to be a name we're calling lots today, Dalton.
Yeah, he will air out that football. I don't think he cares at all about the elements and the weather that's certainly going to play a part here today. He's got plenty of options out wide and sends one of them in motion right now.
And there is a player that jumped off sides for Metamora that looks like Barbarinas, the defensive end. They had Stanley Thompson going in motion, and that's going to be an offsides on the Redbirds, so it puts the ball on the Metamora 44. Good starting field position for this Morgan Park team after Metamora tries some trickery to start this one.
Yeah, Barbarina is the guilty party there, and not the end of the world just committing a penalty on the first play of the game, but try to limit those small mistakes for your Metamora.
So now 1st and 5 for Morgan Park. Pierre Jackson's in motion. Thaxton will keep it. He's going down to the backfield. And there's Barbarinas atoning for the mistake.
Unbelievable. You commit the penalty, and then you just blow up a play in the backfield for a TFL. And that's exactly what Metamora is going to need to bring. Going to need to bring pressure, make Thaxton feel uncomfortable. But, of course, don't over-pursue because, as we know, Morgan Park in the open field, there might not be a better team in the state in that regard.
Yeah, you cannot let these Morgan Park players burn you in the open field. And you have to wrap up. That's going to be a big key for Metamora today. As Eden Cote runs off the field, substitution coming in for Metamora here on 2nd and 9. Thaxton out of the shotgun and whistles blow. There's going to be a timeout called by Morgan Park, so we're not even a full minute into this game, and Chris James wants to talk things over here for Morgan Park. And while we have a quick stoppage here, Dalton, let's take a look at our keys to the game. And for Morgan Park, again, for them, it's going to be on defense. They got to close the interior, not let Metamora's offensive line open up some big holes. They just got to play fundamental football against a well-coached Redbird team.
Certainly. In terms of fundamentals, those small mistakes like Metamora just made there, those can come back and end your season. So stay on top of your game for the Mustangs.
And for Metamora, Saturday stroll, I should say, they got to just take their time with the football, no rush. And they also don't want to get greedy either when they're on defense and over-pursue.
Absolutely. Just stay within yourself if you're Metamora. You're a good football team playing a tough conference. You're in the playoffs for a reason in the second round of the playoffs nonetheless. Stay within yourself.
2nd and 9. Thaxton drops back comfortably. Now he thumbs up, runs into his own lineman. He's going to run it for a yard or two, but just a bit of a lack of awareness there from the Morgan Park quarterback and didn't see his own guy in front of him.
Yeah, Thaxton absolutely decked Roman Wellington, who I don't think was expecting to get hit from behind there. But not a bad pickup at all to set up third and medium for the Mustangs.
I'll see what the Mustangs do here. Again, this offense so dynamic, so many playmakers. You got Nasir Rankin again, the #1 junior in the state. at wide receiver and some more pre-snap motion.
Didn't exactly catch that one. Hopefully it's not on Metamora for the Redbirds' sake. You don't want 2 on the first drive, and it is on Metamora.
And Mustangs indicated it was on the opposite side, so that's 2 offsides calls now on Metamora. That makes it now 3rd and just 1. See if they stick with the same play call here.
Only 3 on that defensive line for Metamora. They are going to go up the middle.
And it's Terrence Gurley, the handoff. He bounces off a man and makes the tackle. There goes Terrence Gurley through the elevator doors, and it's a touchdown for Morgan Park. On 3rd and 1, Gurley takes it 40 yards to the house.
Rather unorthodox first drive for the Mustangs, but you will absolutely take it. Looked like Gurley was going down right at the line of scrimmage, was going to be super close to that first down. He slips 1 tackle, and that is all it takes. Turns on the Jets. He's in the house for 6. Mustangs on the board first.
He evaded Grady Neal, the sophomore linebacker for Metamora, and just took it to the house. And the point after coming is up, and it is good. So Morgan Park hops off the bus, and they make a statement. 7-0 here at Scoring Drive, brought to you by Papa John's. And again, that is proof in the pudding of why Metamora's got a tackle in the open field.
Warm-ups are overrated, John. Who needs to warm up anymore? We're ready for some playoff football. Forget the warm-ups. And then we were just talking about make that open tackle if you're Metamora, because if there's any green turf in front of any of these Morgan Park players, you can more often than not just kiss them goodbye like Metamora had to do to Gurley there. And not the end of the world, of course, just giving up 1 touchdown on the first drive for Metamora. Now it's about how do you respond with your offense.
I think, many people coming into this game probably thought that, Morgan Park's offense is probably going to, have some big plays. They're going to get their big chunk plays. They're going to get their touchdowns. Now I think the biggest question, what a lot of people are wondering is, can Metamora move the ball well and get touchdowns against this Morgan Park defense that doesn't even allow 1 per game this entire season?
And given all that, John, it sounds elementary, but if you're Metamora, just stay within 2 scores. Stay within striking distance, because Metamora is no stranger to the big play either. So just again, like I said earlier, stay within yourself.
A little bit of a pooch kick there, and it's fallen on by the Redbirds at the 42. Like that was Braden Bittner, the cornerback, that fell on it. So now we'll get a look at Stephen Petrie and the rest of this Metamora offense that was shut out in the first half against Centralia last week, but came back and scored 3 touchdowns all in the second half to win on the road.
Yeah, certainly going to have to score at least once in the first half if you want a chance at Morgan Park, I would imagine. But very balanced offensive attack in terms of the running game for the Redbirds.
Evan Kyle motions into the backfield. He misses a tackle and falls forward for a gain of about 3.
That's our leading rusher right there. Probably call his name more often than anybody else, I would imagine, but like I said, lots and lots of weapons in the backfield for Metamora. Lots of moving parts, misdirections. O-line's going to have to stay strong and give all those moving parts some green turf to work with.
So positive play on first down. Now Avery Grebner moves into the slot for the Redbirds. He is their leading receiver. Handoff goes up to Evan Kyle, and the Morgan Park D-line just swallowed him up there, including number 53, Jordan Petty.
Exactly what you want if you're Morgan Park. Force Metamora into these very quick 3rd and mediums, or even better if they're 3rd and longs. Make them uncomfortable. Metamora's got plenty of blowout wins where they never had to get uncomfortable. So if you're at the Mustangs, force them in uncomfortable territory, like right now on 3rd and 5.
2 men in the backfield. Kyle is off to Petrie's right. Cranford is behind him. They also have an H-back. And it's off to Cranford. Get some good blocks across the 50. Cranford! There he goes! Tit for tat. Tie ball game in Metamora.
Cranford looks at the Mustang sideline and says, anything you can do, I can do better. I mean, just almost a carbon copy of what Gurley just did on the opposite side. And Cranford says, 3rd and 6, I don't care. I'm not uncomfortable. I'm going to take it to the house. And you know what is comfortable? Celebrating a touchdown. Tie game, barring a missed extra point.
Buckle your seatbelts, folks. This one could end up being really fun. It's for reasons just like that. Just because Metamora doesn't pass the ball often doesn't mean that they can't have big plays. Cranford and Kyle, we could see some long runs from them today if Morgan Park isn't careful.
Yeah, really interesting to see just the numbers at the end of this game. Who's got the most carries, most yards per carry, etc.
Sopko's point after is a high arcing one and through The big yellow uprights, 7-7 here in Metamora. That scoring drive brought to you by Papa John's. Yeah, we very well could have a shootout on our hands here, Dalton. You know, Metamora has played in a couple high-scoring games this year. We saw them back against Morton in Week 4. That game was 40-37. They've putting up, 30s, 40s, points per game, for a lot of these games this season. So their offense can, roll with some of the best.
And even in their losses, they did lose that game by a touchdown to Pekin. Scored 37 points against a good Pekin team that was in the playoffs for Class 7A. And, when you look at their losses, it's not like they're getting blown out and shut out like a lot of Morgan Park's opponents have been. So Metamora knows how to put some points up on the board here quick, as they just proved.
Again, Morgan Park beat the 16 seed Tindley Park 34-0 last week. Battle of the Parks, I guess, up there in Chicago. Other big wins for Morgan Park this year. Again, their lone loss was back in Week 1 against Chicago Marist, a very strong 8A team. Since then, they've beaten some good teams like Kenwood, Lane Tech, Chicago Phillips, and also Simeon, who we saw last week as well, and none of those games were close.
Yeah, so you never really know with the strength schedule of some of those Chicago public schools, but Morgan Park had a rather tough one, I'd say.
Another onside kick, and the Mustangs bring it in. It's going to be a bit of a return. Still on his feet is the Mustangs returner. It looked like Devontae McLaurin, their tight end. And it's going to be another drive in great field position here for the visitors. It's great if you get those onside kicks back, but obviously there's a strong consequence as well.
Nice hands if you're McLaurin there. And that might be one of the biggest returns that I've seen on an onside kick in quite some time, because more often than not, there's whoever is in charge of receiving that onside kick just catches it and goes down or covers up or is immediately smoked. But really, really nice field position for the Mustangs here.
McLaurin, again, the tight end for Morgan Park, is a player that their head coach, Chris James, said is the glue of their offense. Doesn't get the ball in his hands often, but knows the blocking assignments to help let his guys shine. Thaxton looks back for the audible. Metamora shifts their defense around now. Shea Seals moves out. They cover the slot receiver. And there's going to be another stoppage here.
And timeout number 2 taken by the Mustangs.
Chris James, Morgan Park's head coach, is way out onto the field. He was almost halfway to the hash marks there, and it looks like it'd be a timeout. I didn't see who that timeout was called by. I think it was Morgan Park. So just like that, Dalton, not even 3 minutes into the game, and they've already burned through 2 of their timeouts.
Can't say I was expecting that one either, John. There's clearly something that Chris James does not like in terms of the formation, or maybe somebody's in the wrong spot, or they're just not picking up on what the play call is. Something is not right, and Chris James wants to fix it. But yeah, 2 timeouts already taken. See if that comes back to hurt them in the latter part of this first half.
So 1st and 10. Here now from the 40. 4 wide receivers, 4 Thaxton. Empty set, looking to throw. He's got a man. And it's complete to Pierre Jackson inside the 10. Cranford trying to bring him down. He can't. Eventually gets help from the reinforcements. A 36-yard connection from Thaxton to Jackson.
Jackson, nice rhyme there, Barter. Jackson just put his head down and took off. Just a straight-up go route, and Thaxton's so good at dropping the ball in that breadbasket.
And there's Chris James, Morgan Park's head coach in his 7th year, 5th playoff appearance. And he was a former wide receiver down in your neck of the woods, Dalton, down by Champaign at the University of Illinois, playing that 2006 Rose Bowl team.
Let's go Illini. I was about 2 years old when that happened. But
Terrence Gurley runs up the middle, and he is met right away. A good tackle there from the Metamora linebackers. Looks like that was Brad Schuck, the first one there.
Such a chess match for this Metamora defense to try to figure out the puzzle that is Morgan Park's offense. Don't want to overcommit, but don't want to back off too much.
2nd and goal now from the 2. Gurley gets a handoff again. This time, waltzes into the end zone, and Morgan Park just takes 3 plays to go 40 yards. It's 14-7, 8:08 to go here in the first.
Got tremendous blocking there on that one from Morgan Park as well. Gurley could have crab walked into the end zone if he wanted to. Plenty of space, plenty of blocking. Morgan Park, again, not wasting any time getting into the end zone to go up a score.
Here comes the point after attempt. High snap brought in. It's a low kick, but crawls over the crossbar, and it's 14-7 Mustangs. The pride of Chicago taking a lead here in Central Illinois. And, you know, Dalton, I was actually at that Morgan Park Peoria High playoff game here back in 2021. That game ended up being 50-42. And I think we could see a potentially pretty similar final score here today if this keeps up. Only took them 1 minute and 1 second to score.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that was one of the best football games you ever watched, one of the best playoff games in Illinois high school football history, and I would really like more of the same here today, and it looks like we could be going down that path the way both teams are playing. I don't see either team running away with it per se, and Peoria High and Morgan Park, another thing we talked about, some similarities in their play style and their athleticism as well. So not shocking that a few years ago that game was close.
Yeah, you know, if Metamora were to maybe have a practice opponent this week to help them prepare for Morgan Park, I'm sure they would have loved to maybe have a joint practice with Peoria High. Two very similar teams in the Lions, looking very strong this year as well. Kickoff is away and brought in at the 17. Here goes Grebner, it looks like, running east-west, and the ball may have came out at the end. It's on the ground now, but they're going to say he was down at the 23. So overall, only about 6 yards on that return for Grebner, who just had nothing coming his way.
Yeah, I don't mind him trying to get all the way to the outside and try to read his blockers. Just the athleticism, Morgan Park was too much there on our first quote-unquote normal kickoff of the game, I'd say, following a couple onside kicks and one pooch kick. But regardless, Metamora sets up shop on their own 23. See how they can respond to Morgan Park.
1st and 10 from the 24. Petrie fakes the throw. It's a give to Kyle up the middle, and a nice pickup there on 1st down. We talked about that Peoria High playoff game. There are some players that are making their second appearance on Clutch Sports Media after that game because they're 4-year starters. Devontae McLaurin, Makai Hubbard, their defensive lineman, Quincy Shearer as well at linebacker. These guys have been on the block for Morgan Park, to say the least.
And experience just so crucial, John, when you get to these playoffs. You want guys that have been here before and played good competition before. Morgan Park has a plethora of just that.
Another give right into the teeth of the Mustangs D. And maybe a pickup of one there for Evan Kyle. You know, Cranford is, those of you maybe who haven't seen Metamora's running backs before, Cranford's kind of the speedy, athletic guy, one-cut guy. Kyle is a little bit of that same as well. He is a very fast track runner. In fact, one of the best in the Mid-Illini Conference. But he's also one of their tougher runners as well. It's Stephen Petrie, their quarterback, also in over 100 rushing attempts this season. 3rd and 4. We'll see another one here. Petrie gets some blocks. Going across the 35 and plows up to the 0 in the 40. That's a 1st down for Metamora.
And that's 2 3rd and medium conversions in the early going for the Redbirds, and that screams to me that they're not going to back away from the competition. Really good sign for Metamora as they edge closer and closer to enemy territory with about 6.5, give or take, to go in our first quarter.
Petrie carried it 19 times for 70 yards and 3 touchdowns last week. All of them came in the second half. 1st and 10 now from the 39. Grebner in motion. Handoff. Kyle going down in the backfield. Morgan Park's defense makes a stand. That may have been DeAndre Smith.
I believe it was, and I don't know if anybody picked him up or he just shedded the block immediately and just decks the running back for a big TFL to set up 2nd and 13. And just looking out there, the defensive line of Morgan Park definitely passes the eye test. They got some big guys specifically in that interior.
They do. They got Jordan Petty, who switches around with his teammate Dejon Overton right there. 6'3", 320. Overton clocks the net. Handoff to Kyle. Out just barely across the 40 before he's brought down by Ahmad Grayer, who Morgan Park's coach said is the leader of the entire team. Not just the defense, but of the entire squad.
I was a little pleasantly surprised when Coach James said that about Greger because, you know, you probably got plenty of options. Just talked about all the experience they had. I mean, a lot of these guys are probably leaders, but high praise for Ahmad Greger to be called the leader by his head coach.
Greger has got multiple Division I offers. Hand off to Cranford to the right side. Not much doing there, and a lot of Metamora's runs have gone in between the tackles, and only one or two of them have proven to be successful so far. It sets up a 4th and long.
Yeah, Morgan Park seems to be playing those inside runs that Metamora loves to do pretty well, just using their size and their strength, timing the snap right, just getting any edge you can over Metamora, really plugging up the middle and packing those front 7 tight on the defensive end.
Metamora comes out appearing like they're going to go for this on 4th and 7, so the Redbirds continue to feel cheeky. Tight end of the game is Caleb Morrison. Now in motion is the wide receiver Frederick. It's a screen pass. Grebner in and out of his hands. It's a turnover on downs. Metamora's coaching staff wants a flag, and I don't think they're going to get one.
Don't think so either. And Mekhi Hubbard, even if the ball was caught by the intended receiver, Mekhi Hubbard absolutely decked him, so would have been a turnover on downs either way. But ball back to the Mustangs with great field position and a chance to go up 2 scores.
And that turnover was brought to you by Force Basements. So, again, 3rd drive for the Mustangs here in this first half. And it started inside Metamora territory. Thaxton out of the shotgun. He's going to throw it here. Deep pass. It's complete.
Incredible pass there. I think that was Rankin on the far sideline. And yeah, it was indeed. Just running a quick little post route. Holds on to it and stays in bounds.
Nasir Rankin, again, the #1 junior in the state. He's got offers from Illinois, Duke, Wisconsin, Iowa, Nebraska. Big Ten guys want Nasir Rankin. Gurley cuts back, pushes off a defender. Thrown down by his jersey there by Stephen Petrie, their safety. Ended up picking up about 3.
Not a bad gain at all. You'll take that in Morgan Park. Just anything to keep the line moving and set up another potential throw for Thaxton. And Gurley's so good at that supplemental roll as he makes his way to the sideline.
Gurley's already got 2 touchdowns in case you're just tuning in. Had a 40-yard rush on the first drive of the game to go ahead 7-zip. Then Jadon Cranford, just over a minute later, took one 55 yards to the house. And then Gurley, after Metamora tried an unsuccessful onside kick, plunged in from 2. Handoff here goes to their backup man, Reggie Gray. And it looks like he may have gotten the first down, Dalton.
Yeah, big call. If he didn't, then that sets up 3rd down. If he did, then it's automatically 1st and goal for Morgan Park. See where they spot it as we start to move rather quickly.
Rankin's in the slot. Now he's in motion. Metamora showing a man look. Now maybe a bit more of zone. Some movement here. Now Thaxton retreats to the shotgun. Receives the snap. Hand off to Gray. Running to the left side. He's got an opening. He's got a touchdown. Reggie Gray, the junior.
Beautiful ball vision from Reggie Gray. Handoff looked like he was headed to the right side behind all of his blockers, but just chopped the feet and reversed the way he was going lightning quickly and found that black end zone for 6 more points. And Morgan Park all over Metamora in this first quarter.
Some big passing plays, but it's been mostly the run. That has put the Mustangs up so far. Point after kick. Snap is low. The kick is low, but is up and good. There from Jesse Rogers.
And nice job there by Rogers. He's 3 for 3 in the early going on extra points. And with this weather and just the fact that it's high school football, you don't see it that much. That's pretty impressive, knocking 3 through the uprights.
The rain has subsided for now here in Metamora. That scoring drive brought to you by Papa John's. Already our 4th of the first quarter. Metamora still's got plenty of time to, get back and make this a 1-score game even before the end of the frame. And back and forth action here. Dalton, so far, again, Morgan Park has just got such good field position. I wonder if Metamora is going to keep on kicking onside kicks because this offense has had little resistance going down the field.
Yeah, I would lean towards no. It's obviously a decision. The coaching staff's going to have to make it a tough one at that, but I would say just kick it as far as you can and pin Morgan Park as far back as you can. But then you also run the risk of a very, very good return for Morgan Park. So options for Metamora.
It's also weighing the 2 options there. Kickoff is away. Off the hands of Grebner. He's cutting back to the left again. This time he's got blocks. Grebner a flag down back at the 30. Gets across up near the 40-yard line. That was a much better return from the Redbirds senior, but it may be coming back.
Looked like that play was kind of broken again, but Grebner, a nice job to get almost all the way to the 40, but the flag in the backfield like that, that's almost always on the returning team, and it is.
It's going to be an illegal block in the back on Metamora. So that'll set them back, and we'll see what yard line exactly it will go to. But as see Jamari Washington, number 0 for them, doing a little dance. He's feeling good. The Wisconsin commit.
And Washington, I mean, missed opportunity to go play at Washington, right? but I mean, Wisconsin, just as good of a program. Of course, out of the Big Ten, and lots of Big Ten guys love these Chicago area guys, and for good reason when you look at the dynamic player that Washington is.
They certainly do. Lots of guys from Morgan Park end up going to the Big Ten. Here's a good run from Kyle, getting some blocks and then brought down by a couple of Mustangs, including Washington there. And also in their secondary, you got number 1, Jovan Clark, their safety. He's headed to Washington State. He originally committed to Wyoming, but recently flipped his commitment, and now he's going over to Pullman to play for the Cougars.
So they're telling me Clark is going to Washington State, but Washington isn't going to Washington State. What's going on here, John?
A little bit of backwards there. So 2nd and 6 now from the 17. Handoff. Petrie is going to keep this one. Tumbles across the 20. He is such a hard runner, Dalton. He is a quarterback that seeks out contact when he has the ball in his hands.
Just don't see that across the board just in the game of football, period. And Petrie is no stranger to putting that head down, trying to get that extra yard. And those extra yards are big in a game like this. You know, getting a gain of 1 or 2 is just not near as good as a gain of 5 or 6, especially when you run the ball as much as the Redbirds do.
3rd and 1. Metamora just looking to keep it moving. High snap. Petrie runs it. He's got some blocks. Seeks out more contact. Moves over across the 40. He just bowled over Ahmad Grayer there, a pickup of 18.
Yeah, Grayer read the play well and was there, but Petrie just absolutely drug him across the turf for maybe 4 yards than he perhaps should have gotten. Redbirds will take it. And closer and closer to enemy territory. Need to respond here and only be down 1 score heading into the first quarter. That'd be really nice for Metamora.
Petrie has been the most efficient runner for the Redbirds so far today. It's time. Now it's back to Cranford. First man there was DeAndre Smith, and then Grayer and Washington come in to bring him down for a loss. As we get a look at Metamora's head coach, Jared Grebner. 4th playoff appearance in 5 seasons here at Metamora. The only time he didn't make it was obviously during the COVID season, and he was part of Pat Ryan's staff. Pat Ryan, obviously now a director of recruiting in state down at the University of Illinois. So lots of Illini connections here on the field today.
I love it. I love it. Go Orange and Blue. And yeah, Grebner's been absolute godsend to this Metamora program, led them to the playoffs many times.
He's improved his win total each year since he's been here. Petrie don't know what to do. And Morgan Park knows what to do, and that's bring him down in the backfield.
That might have been a busted play. I think Petrie was maybe looking for an open man on the sideline closer to us, or maybe looking to pitch it, but nevertheless, he took too long to decide it, and there was quite a few white jerseys there to swallow him up, to make it 3rd and long.
A wild first quarter of play that saw 3 touchdowns in the first 4 minutes. Going to come to an end here in Metamora. And that first quarter was brought to you by Sunflower Real Estate. We're through 1. Morgan Park late to the field, but it hasn't made a difference. They lead 21-7 here after 1. Right back after this on CIProud.com.
Looking for a new pair of boots? Time to replace that old cowboy hat? Branded Country Wear is Central Illinois' one-stop shop for all things country. From jeans to boots to accessories, Branded has something for the entire family. Stop in Monday through Saturday and let our friendly, knowledgeable staff make your shopping experience one to remember. Or shop online 24/7 at brandedcountrywear.com. Branded Country Wear, where Central Illinois does country.
Life happens. With Ashley's all-new high-performance furniture, you can relax. It's life-resistant. From messes and mishaps to snacks and spills, these pieces are easy to clean and durable. Plus, some styles feature machine washable covers. So bring on the mess with a little less stress and discover high-performance furniture at Ashley.
The heart of Illinois needs volunteers, and you can make a difference. Be part of a global community of people who care. Discover the joy and satisfaction that comes with improving your community and the lives of the people living in it. United Way connects volunteers who are ready to work with opportunities in the local area, driving real change made by individuals like you. Join United Way in improving the lives and communities around us all. Sign up today at volunteer.hoiunitedway.org.
And welcome back to Metamora, already underway here in the second quarter. They got right back to it, and the first play of the frame, Stephen Peachy dropped back to throw to Avery Grebner. A flag came down. It's a pass interference on Morgan Park.
Yeah, it looked like Kendall Griffin was guilty man there. Not bad defense at all, just a bit too much contact. Metamora will take it. So now they're standing on their own Redbird.
It was a pass that kind of just floated up in the air, a bit of a dangerous ball. Cranford's got some blocks, and there he goes. See you later. There's D1 Jadon taking it 53 yards to the house.
Yeah, talk about dangerous. Jadon Cranford's dangerous. Second absolutely huge running touchdown of the game, and just what a way to kick off the second quarter. What a way to respond if you're Metamora. And I think if you're Coach Grebner, you got to be thinking to yourself, I got to get Cranford the ball more.
Huge credit to the right side of the line blocking. Again, I believe that was their right tackle, Riley Blue. And again, that freshman right guard we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Evan Grove. They both came along really nicely as new starters in this Metamora offense this season.
I can't even imagine what it takes to be a freshman starter on this offense.
High snap, and Grebner brought it down for Sopko, who took a tumble. Morgan Park came in hot off the edge there, but the PAT is through nonetheless. And it's 21-14. Got to be feeling pretty good if you're Metamora. You can say that, hey, we can hang with these guys.
Yeah, it's certainly not time to panic, like I said earlier. You know your offense is just as explosive as Morgan Park is. It's just going to come down to who can play more hard-nosed defense without committing those penalties, I believe.
Definitely. That scoring drive brought to you by Papa John's. 21-14. Every touchdown has come on the ground so far today. Again, now that comes what we were talking about earlier. Does Metamora onside this kick? Personally speaking, I would not. But
me neither.
We'll see. You just got to make sure you cover those playmakers. Again, you got Rankin, you got Washington, you got Grayer, Pierre Jackson. It's just pick your poison in terms of who to kick it to.
It's really dangerous kicking that ball away, but we've seen here in the early going, it's equally as dangerous doing the onside kick. Because Morgan Park, their men in the front all have good hands. They've been able to cover up the ball and even return it just a little bit to get them even better field position, and they've taken full advantage of that field position. Interesting to see what Metamora goes with here.
Sapko tees it up at the 40 and now slows down. Looks like it's going to be another onside at will. Bounces and brought in by the Mustangs. That was Savion Roberts, the junior defensive end, following on that one. So right at midfield is where Morgan Park takes this drive over.
And Morgan Park is 3 for 3 on following on those onside kicks with the ball being wet, the turf being wet. Like I said earlier, that's not going to be easy to do in this one. They've done a really good job of it to give themselves that really good field position.
So now we'll see Thaxton in the offense take over. Again, Thaxton, a 3-year starter at quarterback for Morgan Park. How about this, Dalton? 25 touchdowns, just 5 INTs, a 5-to-1 ratio is going to get it done.
Unbelievable.
He will just hand off, though. Another ball carrier from Morgan Park. First time, Lathan Barnes, the junior, with the carry. Picks up about 2 or 3.
Morgan Park saying we can go 3-4 deep with our running backs too, Metamora. You're not special. We can do that too. But they like to air the ball out more. And yeah, those 5 interceptions, truly unbelievable from Thaxton. As much as they do throw the ball, someone jumped early there.
And that's going to be Kevin Barker, it looked like, on Metamora. So, again, I think the Redbirds are anticipating how fast this team is. They want to get that early jump, but it's cost them a couple times here in the first half.
Yeah, I believe it's the third one in this half alone. Morgan Park will take it, and they've had no issues moving the ball, and penalties by the other team. That's only going to help.
2nd and 2 now for Thaxton. Looks like Barnes will remain in the backfield. 3 wide receivers. Now Thaxton will throw, looking for a deep man in double coverage. Did he bring that in?
He did.
Nasir Rankin, and that's why he's #1 in the state. Wow, what a grab from the junior.
No idea how he held on to that. Rankin was going. The ball drifted off to Rankin's left, Thaxton's right, and the body control, the twist and turn, size that one up, and haul it in for a huge gain. Incredible once again.
And that was a good coverage by Avery Grebner, Metamora's best cornerback as well. Barnes runs this one off to the left side and gets run out by Barbarinas over at the 9-yard line. But, talking with Jared Grebner, Metamora's head coach before the game, he said that, we got to be ready on defense because this team can make some catches, even if it doesn't look like that they'll be able to bring the ball in.
Yeah, they can absolutely hurt you in so many ways. And then, like you said, John, when that football goes up, sometimes, especially from our perspective, you can see, okay, that one's probably going incomplete. But nothing is incomplete with this Morgan Park team until it hits that turf. So many guys that can just haul in even the worst types of passes. Truly insane.
That wasn't a bad throw from Thaxton, just a bit.
Not at all, no.
Just a bit off of where Rankin was going to initially. Flag on Morgan Park. That's going to push him back. It is now going to be a 1st and about 25 or so. I did not see what that call was, Dalton.
Yeah, me neither.
Personal foul on Morgan Park is what I assume.
Some kind of personal foul that really hurts their offense as they were in the red zone, but now, 1st and forever.
Thaxton in some trouble. Screen pass to Barnes. Nickel in pursuit. He gets knocked down. Big play from the Metamora defense.
Redbirds read that one like a book. I don't hate the play call on 1st and long for Morgan Park. Metamora just better defense, getting to that line of scrimmage and making sure Barnes has no extra space to go.
Looked like that was Nickel that started the tackle. Then Brad Schalk came in at the end. Schalk has had some massive, massive games this year, Dalton, including last week. He's their leading tackler with 76.
Yeah, Nickel is 2nd on that list with 63, so the right guys to have there for the Redbirds.
Nickel will be playing in college over in Macomb, headed to Western Illinois University. Thaxton throws a screen pass. It's complete. In some trouble is Jackson. Spins around, still on his feet. Then Barbarinas comes in and says, not so fast, my friend.
Barbarinas just absolutely laying the lumber there. Again, I don't hate the play call. That one was a wide receiver screen. The previous one, I believe, was a halfback screen, but not a bad pickup at all. That does set up 3rd and long for Morgan Park. I would imagine Thaxton's going to take a shot here downfield.
So 3rd and about 20 or so. 3rd and 19. Morgan Park looks over to Chris James, giving them some signals. The little sign language of football. 4 wideouts for Thaxton. Barnes is blocking. Thaxton going for the end zone. Rankin brought it in. Unbelievable. One of the best players in the state shows off why.
All right, we're not even 8 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter, and I'm already running out of words to describe Nasir Rankin. I think everybody in the entire city of Metamora knew that football was going to one man and one man only, Nasir Rankin. It goes to him in double coverage. He hauls it in for 6 more. Unbelievable.
That was a huge touchdown from Morgan Park and a tough play to swallow for Metamora. And the kick is partially blocked by the Redbirds. Shea Seals looked like he came around the edge and got a piece of it. So there's a small silver lining for the Redbirds, but it's 27-14, and Redbirds going to be kicking themselves. They couldn't force Morgan Park into a 4th down there.
Yeah, that was a really big opportunity for Metamora to kind of reverse the trend and take momentum back, stopping Morgan Park after that personal foul. But really just not what you want if you're Metamora. You knew where the ball was going, still couldn't stop it, but it's okay. It's 2nd quarter. It's not the end of the world. You're only down 2 scores. Again, how do you respond?
And scoring drive brought to you by Papa John's. 27-14 Morgan Park, back and forth, all down the field. It's like watching a tennis match, Dalton, almost.
Absolutely, exactly what it is. And Morgan Park, and now their defense needs to step up. They've done it once already, need to do it again. And find a way, if you're Metamora, find a way for any type of points. Here, you need to respond with 8:49 to go. Definitely don't want to go down 3 scores, because then Morgan Park will be threatening to run away with it.
Kickoff bounces in no man's land. Picked up there by Mark Frederick across the 25, and then gets pile-driven back by Savion Roberts of Morgan Park. Quick update here that our friends here in the press box relayed to us. Number 5 for Morgan Park, that was Terrence Gurley, who's had 2 touchdowns today, is now number 36. Had to change jerseys, I guess, but you remember that one play he had his jersey tugged
Got it
pretty
torn off,
hard.
yeah. Remember when I mentioned he was walking off the field? I just assumed it just wasn't his play to be out there on the field, but that makes sense that his jersey was ripped off, so I have to make a mental note of that, because he will certainly be touching the ball many more times in this one.
So 1st and 10 now for Metamora at their own 28. Morgan Park loading the box, just one wide receiver. Grebner's in motion. Hand off to Kyle, getting some good blocks. Pick up a 4 there. And, Dalton, this quarterback situation for Metamora has gone back and forth. Petrie was their quarterback for the first 4 weeks, put up some good numbers. Then he got hurt. Avery Grebner had to come in. And then now Petrie's back healthy. He says, give me the keys to the offense back. And either way, not bad numbers, either way, regardless of who's been behind center.
Yeah, Petrie and Grebner, I mean, it's 1A and 1B for the Redbirds. They're both perfectly capable of running the offense. They both got good arms, good ball carrier vision. Nice little dynamic duo, if you will, from the quarterback position.
Grebner didn't have to pass that much. Cranford trying to break this to the outside. He's going to run into a wall there of Jamari Washington and Jermaine Irving. 2 seniors on this Morgan Park defense that features 10 seniors.
My goodness, that just begs the question, what are they going to look like next year? I mean, you're losing basically your entire defense. I think that's probably just more motivation for them to get it done this year and make it as far as possible, perhaps take home the first state title in the history of Morgan Park football.
They are looking for state title number 1. Maybe this is their year. Lots of strong opponents await, though, in the rest of the 5A bracket. 3rd and 5, big play here. Petrie's going to throw this one, and it's just out of the reach of Mark Frederick. There's a flag down at the 43 on the far side.
Yeah, didn't see exactly what the flag was all about. I don't hate the play call at all from Coach Grebner. And Frederick had maybe a step on his band, not a bad throw at all for Petrie. And Frederick laid it all out there, trying to make that one. Just couldn't haul it in.
And it'd be a penalty on, it looked like the penalty is going to be on Morgan Park, and it will, so that will give Metamora a new life. This is going to be a 15-yard personal foul and move it up to the 49.
Yeah, I heard a light round of applause coming from our side of the field, and of course Metamora's fan section, and you'll take it if you're the Redbirds. Now you're all the way close to midfield with 7:14 to go. Got to capitalize on it.
Redbirds looking for that counter punch. Petrie looking to throw. It's a screen to Cranford, getting a block to the outside, tumbles across the 50. Owen Cleland laid a block for Cranford to pick up about 3 or 4.
Yeah, and Cranford not happy with himself after that one, because if he evaded those 2 tacklers, he might be in the end zone right now for a 3rd time. He had plenty of open space and blockers ahead of him, just got tripped up, not his fault at all, and you'll take it if you're Metamora.
So ball goes from 149 to the other 49. Now Metamora in Mustang territory. And Mustangs loading that box, anticipating the run. Can they stop it? They can right there. A lot of orange helmets bringing him down, including Irving.
Yeah, Irving might have been the first one there, but just so many white jerseys packing that front 7 in tight. It doesn't matter who's running that football for Metamora. They don't have a ton of breathing room. Morgan Park has played that really well for the most part. Got to start limiting those big plays, and then they will run away with this one, I believe.
It maybe seems obvious to say this, especially to the people that watch Metamora football a lot. But again, if Metamora can win this game, it's going to have to be because of the offensive line. They're going to have to lay some big blocks and clear some holes. Now, 3rd and 8 from the 49. Petrie handed it off to Cranford. Into the teeth, and not much doing there. It'll set up a 4th down. Jacob Ware, Morgan Park's leading tackler, bringing him down.
And decision-making time for Coach Krebner. This is certainly a down and distance that Metamora can capitalize on and get a fresh set of downs, and that would be huge for them. But also, you run the risk of not getting it and then giving Morgan Park great field position again.
Redbirds are content to just drain some of this clock. Last week against Tinley Park, Morgan Park gave up a 9 to 10 minute long scoring drive to Tinley Park's wing T offense. Petrie gets some blocks and flies across the 42. He's going to be awfully close, but that spot I don't think was generous, and it should be Mustang ball.
Yeah, referees are going to have to converge and make sure they get this huge call right, but they're, to the naked eye, it looks like it's going back to the Mustangs. Still waiting on a signal. Metamora thinks they got it.
It is awfully close. They might bring out the chain gang
I think
here.
you have to.
They might bring this out. It initially was spotted advantageously from Metamora. Then the side judge kind of spotted at the 42. He was the furthest one away, though. The other side judge says, no, I think he was closer to the 41. And made it a close decision, enough to bring out the men in orange.
Wouldn't want that job out there today, just standing there holding the first down markers in the cold rain, but
here's
thankful
the
for what
moment
they
of
do.
truth, and he got it by the length of the football. Stephen Petrie, every extra inch counts.
Yeah, and definitely counts here. That would be crucial if they gave up possession right there to Morgan Park, because Morgan Park could have probably ran the clock down to the end of our first half. But no, Metamora says our offense is staying on the field. We're making this a one-score game heading into the locker room, whether you like it or not.
They didn't keep this methodical. They could run out the rest of this clock in the first half. Cranford looking for some blocks, pushes the guy in front of him, keeping the legs churning, and then brought down by Jordan Petty there, their D tackle. Pick up of maybe half yard.
I think, John, if you're going to get to the end zone within the time frame here, you got to go to the air at least once. Morgan Park is starting to cheat with that front seven quite a lot. They're starting to shoot the empty gaps and trip up the ball carriers, just 1 or 2 yards max beyond the line of scrimmage. So I think you got to go to the air. Probably not here, but at least once. Also, a play action would be an interesting play call here.
Yeah, Metamora and really lull an opponent to sleep and then hit you with the play action. We see it multiple times this season. Pickup of 2 officially there. Cranford back up the middle. Just keeping the legs moving and making it a 3rd and manageable. Again, talked about passing, but I don't mind that play call to set up a 3rd and medium. You're probably in 4-down territory anyway.
Yeah, in football, it more often than not comes down to who can convert on 3rd down, specifically these 3rd and mediums. But on 4th down here, I think you just go for it, and if you're Metamora and don't get it, you don't panic because you trust in your defense to hold Morgan Park to no score with 3 minutes. And remember, John, only 1 timeout Morgan Park has.
Handoff. No, Petrie keeps it. Fooled us out. Still on his feet. Still up on his feet. Now he's throwing down. Metamora is going to want the flag, but I don't think they're going to get it. Petrie's been their go-to guy on those 3rd and 4th downs, but again, Morgan Park is kind of starting to figure that out.
Yeah, he was real tough there on that carry, and he was just forced back by a bunch of white jerseys, slammed to the ground, hops right back up. He is tough as nails, number 16 in black.
He really is, especially, again, to come back from the injury. He's a 2-way starter. They kept him just on offense for those first 2 weeks back, and then last week played his first game back at free safety. 4th and 3, screen pass, Cranford wide open. He's got some blockers. Frederick lays one. Cranford cuts it back. Touchdown, Metamora, and there's the first half hat trick for Cranford.
My goodness, Cranford. I mean, they did go to the air with that slight little screen pass. Exactly what the doctor ordered for the Redbirds. Cranford in open space. That more often than not means 6 points for the red and black, and he put the moves right at the goal line, put the moves on Jamar Washington, the 6'2 senior, dances his way into the end zone, and now Metamora's defense has got to make a stand, keep this at a one-score game heading into the locker room.
You could tell almost as soon as he caught that ball that he was going to take that because he had so many good blockers downfield. He had Blue, he had Grove, he had Frederick, he had half the offense blocking for him. And Sopko's point after is up and through, cuts it down to 6. And there's a big score for Metamora. Remember, they do get the ball back to start the second half.
And remember here, John, Morgan Park only has one timeout. They called the 2 timeouts at the beginning of the first quarter, and I'm talking like the first 5 minutes of the first
3
quarter.
minutes.
Yeah, first 3 minutes of the first quarter. So they've only got one opportunity to stop the clock. Now, the way their offense moves, that might not be a problem, but if they do want to try to score here before the end of our first half, only got one timeout to do so.
As Scoring Drive brought to you again by Papa John's. They're getting their money's worth here today. I want to thank them and all the rest of our other sponsors, including Michael's Italian Feast, Joliffe Glass, 2 Men and a Truck, Adam Merrick Real Estate, Pepperell Chiropractic, the 3300 Event Center, Jansen Law Center, NECA, Strong Law, and Avantis. All those of you around Peoria, definitely should head on over whenever they need. There's Italian food, chiropractic.
Anytime you need anything, we got something for you.
Definitely encourage you to support all those local businesses that have helped keep our coverage going all season long.
And now this, I would be shocked if they try to pull an onside kick here because, like I said, with the one timeout Morgan Park has, you want to get them back as far as possible to try to have them run out of time before they could score.
And there is an onside kick. Will it roll the full 10 yards? That's going to fall just short. Metamora nearly perfectly executed it, but it only went 9 yards. And that should be Morgan Park football, but let's take a look at these Morgan Park players coming to a stadium near you, no matter where you are, Wisconsin, Washington, wherever. They got guys that are going D1. He's going to look at all of them there. Washington, Clark, Grayer, Thaxton, Rankin. Such bright futures for all those players.
Yeah, from coast to coast, Morgan Park football is known as a factory for Division I talent, as are a ton of schools in around that Chicago area. And Morgan Park, maybe in years past known as more of a basketball school. Of course, it's the alma mater of Illini great Ayo Dosunmu, one of my personal favorites.
Mine as well.
They've got plenty of state championships and whatnot in basketball, but really becoming just as much as a juggernaut on the gridiron.
They certainly are. And yet, how about this, Dalton? Morgan Park is coming down to play Metamora in a standalone basketball game on January 4th. And that Metamora team with some very big players like Jonah Funk, who just committed to South Dakota just a day or two ago, transferred over from El Paso Gridley. And Matthew Zobrist as well, Bradley commit on Metamora this year. Flag in the backfield. This one may be coming back. There's a short gain nonetheless. Metamora may decline it. Who knows?
Yeah, again, decision-making time here for Grebner. And that Metamora basketball team, it's looking like that might be one of their better ones here in recent memory. High expectations, as always, for the Redbirds, and that penalty was on the Mustangs, indeed.
And stay tuned for halftime because, believe it or not, we will have the Metamora basketball head coach, Justin Dame, as well as Matthew Zobrist, we believe, stopping in by to talk with us here in the booth. So it'll be fun to talk with them, maybe get their thoughts on Morgan Park. And how about Nasir Rankin on the Mustangs? He's also a star basketball player as well and could go Division I in basketball if you wanted to as well.
It's a shocker. You can get it done on the football field and on the basketball court.
First now and 15. Terrence Gurley now wearing 36. Gets the tote, and he gets brought down. A nice open field tackle there by Petrie, the safety.
Yeah, if there's ever time to make open field tackles, it's right now. You want to keep Morgan Park out of the end zone because right now Metamora has a slight momentum advantage despite being down one score. So don't let Morgan Park score again. Do anything in your power to stay strong, especially up front with that defense.
See some of those Mustangs fans that made the trip good amount of them making the 2-hour-plus drive here to Central Illinois. Sun is coming out. It's turned out to be a beautiful day in Metamora. Second and 10. Rankin with the end around. Trying to make a play. It's Metamora that makes the play, though. Barbarinus, the TFL.
Kept him in bounds, too. Keep that clock going. Rankin is so good at finding open space. There was none there. That is thanks to the very, very strong athletic defense of Metamora, and it looks like Morgan Park's going to take their final timeout.
Chris James, Morgan Park's head coach, said, our strategy with Nasir Rankin is just give him the ball and get out of the way, but I don't think he took into account the fact that Sam Barbarinus and Cam Nickel can get in his way as well. That was a phenomenal play from that Redbird defense, and keeping them in bounds, too, because they got a minute 35. They have no timeouts. You just can't let anything go over the top.
Yeah, I would imagine for Morgan Park a few plays, maybe 2 or 3 passing plays, and then take a shot to the end zone to none other than Nasir Rankin. That's really, I don't know if you have much of another option right now if you're Coach James and the Mustangs. Just try to find a way to get into the end zone, snatch that momentum right back.
Most of Morgan Park's passing offense runs through Nasir Rankin, who's got 31 catches for 858 and 11 scores coming into today, and Pierre Jackson, who had that big catch earlier. 29 catches, 556, and 9 touchdowns for him this season. Other than that, though, they like to spread the ball around a little bit. Look at this nice sky now. It's cleared up. 3rd and 12 for the Mustangs from the Metamora 41. They have lived in Redbird territory so far this afternoon. Thaxton moves Gurley over to the left side. Rankin moved around. Thaxton looking to throw deep. Double coverage. And that's going to be an easy pass interference call right there. And I don't know if that ball was even catchable. Stephen Petrie is going to be kicking himself for that one. That's going to be a free penalty for Morgan Park.
Yeah, that's a backbreaker for Metamora. That's one you really can't commit given that situation. It wasn't a bad throw by Thaxton by any means, just a tad bit overthrown. There was no chance for the intended man to make that catch, but Petrie, way too much contact, will stop the clock and more importantly move Morgan Park deeper in enemy territory.
And you saw the receiver kind of just beat him, and it's clear that he was going to win that foot race, and so Petrie thought his best defense was just to try and just bring him down and save the touchdown, but he didn't account for the fact that ball was overthrown and probably wouldn't have reached him anyway. So now it's a 1st and 10 from the 26. Thaxton looking to throw again, and flags fly. Decent amount of laundry this first half, Dalton.
Yeah, certainly, and penalties of all varieties. We've had, legal block in the back. We've had pass interference, holding, offsides. And here we have a false start that's going to go on Morgan Park, and that'll negate the previous penalty committed by Metamora just a little bit.
That'll make it 1st and 15 now. And now Morgan Park's kind of showed their hand with 2 straight passes. Do they go back to it again? Keep an eye on Rankin. He's in the slot, matched up with fellow number 7, Avery Grebner. I'll be double covering Rankin here if I'm Metamora.
Without a doubt, yeah, you absolutely have to, because if the ball's going over the top, it's more often than not going to him. So throw 2 black jerseys on him, make sure he has no breathing room, because the football's going to go to Rankin at least one more time before our first half comes to a close.
And just a highlight reel player who had 2 highlight reel catches on that last scoring drive for them. Now Thaxton will throw again, facing pressure off the edge. A calm throw to the outside is brought in by Pierre Jackson for a touchdown. 2 Redbirds in the vicinity. It did not matter.
Talk so much about Nasir Rankin. Just cannot go to sleep on Pierre Jackson. The 6', 168 senior hauling that one in a big touchdown. And really impressive drive overall from Morgan Park. Didn't have a ton of time, only had 1 timeout, and they got it done to go up 2 scores heading into the locker room, barring another score by the Redbirds.
We still have not seen a punt in this first half. Every drive is pretty much ended with a touchdown. Well, a couple of turnover on downs, I
think 2, maybe 2 turnover on downs, 3 tops. Can't remember at the top of my head, but
But you look at these Morgan Park scoring drives, and they scored a minute 16, or a minute 35 into the game. Took them a minute 1 to score their second touchdown. Only just a few minutes to score their third, and then just 1 or 2 minutes is still too much for this Morgan Park offense.
It absolutely is. Yeah, it's just the way they roll, and they're going to take a delay a game here. But 120 and 3 timeouts is definitely doable for Metamora, and you really, really want a touchdown to end the first half. It won't be easy with the lack of time.
So Morgan Park just took the delay a game. Their last point after was blocked, so they want to get that 2 back and make it a 14-point game. And I think the reason they took that delay game was so that they could have more room to pass and they give the receivers more room to run.
I don't hate it.
More space to defend.
Seems maybe a little bit silly to the casual football fan, but I don't mind that call
Metamora
at all.
declined the penalty, rather. So 2 wide outs. Thaxton looking one way. Looking for Rankin. Oh, my goodness. You cannot be serious. In the air. Look like he was sitting down in midair and brought it in for the 2-point conversion. Nasir Rankin, have a day.
Man, that might be his best catch of the day. I'm kind of ashamed it came on a 2-point conversion and not a touchdown, but take it if you're Morgan Park. I'll send the defense out there, get a stop, and take all the momentum with you into the locker room.
Again, Grebner has been all over. He's been face guarding Rankin, just all over him, watching every move, and doesn't matter. Nasir Rankin just makes plays. Scoring drive brought to you again by Papa John's.
My goodness. I mean, I'm pretty much speechless after that one. And he did that.
Unbelievable catch.
He's doing all this in the first half, John. What are we going to say in the second half? We're running out of stuff to say about him already because he just makes play after play after play. It is a huge, probably the biggest part of the 2-score lead that Morgan Park has, and not a bad throw from Thaxton either on that play.
Yeah, we see a stark contrast between quarters for Morgan Park. That first quarter was a steady diet of runs from Gurley. Now it's a lot of passes, a lot of them to Nasir Rankin, and that touchdown to Pierre Jackson. Kick is away, bounces right into the lap of Grebner, out across the 30, and be pushed forward for an extra 9 yards. He's probably thanking the Morgan Park defender Floyd Love there for the extra yardage. Metamora still has enough time to go down and get a late score. They got all 3 timeouts in their back pocket.
Yeah, like I said, plenty of time, and this isn't the worst field position that you could ask for. So, minute 13, you can do it. I mean, I think the ball probably in the hands of Cranford here and try to get him some good blocks like they did on their previous scoring play. Get him into open space, see what happens. You might as well.
So 1st and 10 now from the 39. Kyle has got to tie his shoe. Now he's all good. H back in the backfield to help block. That's Morrison. Petrie's going to keep this one. Going nowhere. 2 linemen wrap him up, including one Jamari Washington who came flying up from the secondary to make that play.
Yeah, very athletic play there from Washington.
Now inside of 1 minute. And Metamora not using their timeouts.
Yeah, seem to be in no hurry here. I think they're content with just running out the clock. Don't want to risk throwing an interception.
And so if they do that, it means they'd be heading into the halftime with a 2-score deficit, but they do get the ball back to start the second. Pass goes to Cote. It's going to be a PI call there. Easy flag to throw as Washington pushed him over.
Well, maybe this might change Coach Grebner's mind after that pass interference call. We will see. With just 32 seconds to go, they'll have still a good amount of the field to go. Again, tough decision to make if you're Coach Grebner.
So that'll be a pass interference. It'll move it up to the 45-yard line. I think that's got to change things. I mean, now you're in Morgan Park territory. You got time to run maybe, 4 or 5 plays, depending if you can get a quick hitter. Middle of the field is still in play, though. Petrie's going to look to throw, facing some pressure from Smith off the edge. Hit as he throws, and a lame duck throw falls just to the wayside of Jacob Ware.
Yeah, not what you want if you Metamora, but at least, it stopped the clock.
And Smith kind of grabbed Petrie's arm down as he threw that ball. That's why it just came out so limp there. But not the worst play in the world. Clock stops. Just hit the reset button and see what you can do here on second down. Would you maybe try and go another screen pass here?
I wouldn't hate that at all. And if you do complete the screen pass, Cranford would have, or whoever is on the reception would have plenty of room to get out of bounds, if nothing else, I would imagine.
27.9 on the clock. Grebner is the lone wide receiver. And it's a feed to Cranford. Getting some more blocks to the right side. Wrestled out by Ahmad Grayer. He's got, again, multiple Division I offers. Got out of bounds, so Metamora still all 3 timeouts left.
Certainly doable. I mean, just over 20 seconds to go. Probably going to have to take a shot downfield at some point, I would imagine.
You know, even if you do go down 2 scores here at the half, Dalton, you got to feel pretty solid, though, if you're Metamora, because they had a slow first half against Centralia. We're shut out. You put up 21 points, so they've got something going. They just need to make some stops on D. 3rd down now. Again, just another one wide out set. Petrie looking to throw. He's going to Grebner. Washington in coverage, and it's being picked off by Jamari Washington. The Wisconsin commit comes up with a big play, and that should essentially do it for the first half.
Yeah, certainly. Washington read that the entire way. I don't hate the play call. You got to take a deep shot at some point or another, but Washington was all over it, hauling that one in. And, yeah, I would imagine a few knees or maybe even just one knee if Metamora doesn't want to call timeout, and we head into the locker room.
Or, I mean, with this Morgan Park offense, a deep shot, I mean, heck, you can't rule that out of the coverage.
Definitely not.
Out of the picture, but that throw there from Petrie, you can't really have many throws like that today with how many athletes Morgan Park is. You can't be floating balls up. It's got to be zipping it on the spot in a place where they can't go up and reach it.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of athleticism, Morgan Park definitely has the advantage. So to your point, John, you got to put it right in the breadbasket. Can't underthrow, overthrow, nothing like that.
4 wide receivers here, and Morgan Park is just going to kneel it out with Thaxton. And so that will do it for the second quarter. Wow, what a first half here in Metamora. That second quarter brought to you by United Way. 35-21 Mustangs at the halftime break. And again, I think if Metamora can come back, get that touchdown and start the second half, you're in a good spot. If not, Morgan Park is looking pretty here on the road.
Yeah, I could really see this game coming down to who comes out with more firepower at the beginning of the third quarter, maybe more importantly, who scores first in the third quarter. If you're Morgan Park, you really got to stay stout and just completely diminish any last ounce of hope that Metamora has. If you're Metamora, come out like you did in this game and score on your first drive with a big play.
And Metamora, they corrected their mistakes from the first half in the halftime locker room last week. Can they do so again here at home at Malone Field? What a great day for football. Glad you're with us here on your Saturday, and you're spending it with us and the Clutch Sports Media crew and our WMBD Game of the Week on CIProud.com. We'll take a quick break and come right back after halftime. We've got some special guests joining us in our Bob Grimm Chevrolet halftime show. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back after these messages.
I am Taryn, and I am currently a parent at Peoria Academy with my daughter, Harley. What I love about the small class sizes here is the teachers are really able to pay attention to the students and what their needs are and how they grow or how they learn or how they listen. It's been great for our child and her needs. The IB curriculum has really helped our daughter grow and have this new enthusiasm for subjects. And it's great to see her come home excited, wanting to teach us what she learned at school today.
At Papa John's, we start with better. Like taking marinated oven-roasted chicken and tossing it in our hot lemon pepper sauce. Or how we hand-toss our fresh, never-frozen signature dough made from 6 simple ingredients. And now, our dough can save you dough when you order from the Papa Pairings menu. Get 2 or more Papa Pairings favorites for just $6.99 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Order now on the app.
From the very beginning, she was my support, my cheerleader, always giving me the best she could. Now it's my time to find the best for her. And that started with a call to Shannon Fauner, Sunflower Real Estate Group. Their lifestyle transition experts became part of our family, working with us to find the right fit for Mom, making sure she was ready, and getting her excited for her new home. Shannon Fauner, Sunflower Real Estate Group, the key piece to your puzzle.
Looking for a new pair of boots? Time to replace that old cowboy hat? Branded Country Wear is Central Illinois' one-stop shop for all things country. From jeans to boots to accessories, Branded has something for the entire family. Stop in Monday through Saturday and let our friendly, knowledgeable staff make your shopping experience one to remember. Or shop online 24/7 at brandedcountrywear.com. Branded Country Wear, where Central Illinois does country.
Life happens. With Ashley's all-new high-performance furniture, you can relax. It's life-resistant. From messes and mishaps to snacks and spills, these pieces are easy to clean and durable. Plus, some styles feature machine-washable covers. So bring on the mess with a little less stress and discover high-performance furniture at Ashley.
The heart of Illinois needs volunteers, and you can make a difference. Be part of a global community of people who care. Discover the joy and satisfaction that comes with improving your community and the lives of the people living in it. United Way connects volunteers who are ready to work with opportunities in the local area, driving real change made by individuals like you. Join United Way in improving the lives and communities around us all. Sign up today at volunteer.hoiunitedway.org.
And welcome back to Metamora, our Bob Grimm Chevrolet halftime show, as the Metamora Redbirds at home trail 35-21, but looking for another postseason win to move on to the Class 5A quarterfinals. And we're joined now in the booth by a special guest for Metamora basketball. We talked some basketball in the first half. Now their star player, Matthew Zobrist, headed to Bradley next season, joins us in the booth. Matthew, how's it going?
It's going good. How about you?
Pretty good. A fun football game in the first half. Are you a regular attendee of football games?
Yeah, I come to quite a bit, especially the home games.
Definitely, definitely. Well, obviously, basketball season not too far for you. Obviously, I'm sure it's technically for you already started, but officially starts on Monday with practice. You guys got some great new pieces this year. How excited are you guys to get this season rolling?
I'm very excited. Just coming in, looking to work hard and trying to get the team kind of just we got to bond together, you know?
Sure.
We're just bringing in new pieces, so we got to add them together, put the glue guys right, and then I think we'll make it back, hopefully.
Definitely, and obviously you guys went to, or I should say one state back in 2022, went far last season again, and, obviously you had some key guys that graduated last season. Seniors always a big part of each team, but, you come back as essentially almost a 4-year starter. You got some help, though, coming. You got Caden Turner, star freshman, and then you got Jonah Funk coming over from El Paso Gridley as well. You guys have played together, though, in AAU ball. Is that correct?
Yes, we did. We play on Mid-Pro Academy.
Definitely. So what's kind of your dynamic with him, and how excited were you just to find out that he was coming to play ball with you for your senior year?
I was very excited. Obviously, we lost our big guys, Coop and Luke, so we needed a big guy. And it was honestly great to see. So we can be a guard and big duo, so I don't have to play the big.
Definitely. And, obviously you got Caden Turner, freshman, is going to be big for you guys. I have not seen him play in person yet. I've seen clips of him, though. But what have you just seen from him? What can people expect out of, again, what's going to be likely the future of Metamora basketball?
Yeah, well, hopefully he can come in and make a huge role for us. He's a really good shooter, obviously, and he's really good going left. So hope he can get to his shots easy.
Definitely, and you guys, if I'm not mistaken, will start out your season at the Washington Tournament of Champions. We'll be there broadcasting that. Not going to want to miss that on ClutchSportsIL.com. 5 days of tournament basketball. Teams from all across the country coming into Washington, Illinois for a tournament. Help defeat glioblastoma, a rare but aggressive form of brain cancer. Great basketball, too, in that tournament. Maybe any games coming up this year that you think are going to be really big, or ones that you're looking forward to this year at all?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, our first four are huge. St. John Bosco, DeKalb, team from Georgia. So we have some huge matchups there right off the get-go. And then we have Morgan Park at home. That'll be a big one. Evanston. So we got some good matchups.
Definitely, and we talked about that. Morgan Park is coming here on January 4th for that game, and you're probably going to be facing off against Nasir Rankin, number 7 from Morgan Park, who is a top junior in the state for football, also a strong basketball player as well. And maybe you'll, I'm sure, depending on the result, looking for revenge for this game, or looking to try and, say, hey, Metamora has got your number.
Mm-hmm.
but it should be a great one as well. And last question for you again, also, Justin Dame, relatively new head coach there for you at Metamora. What's he been able to do, and what has just stuck out to you about him at all?
Obviously, it's been great. He's been with us since I was a freshman, and he's kind of been running the show since then, too. So, obviously, he's a great X and O's guy. He knows everything, just super high IQ as a coach. And then, obviously, him coming in and stepping as the head coach. That'll be great, too.
Definitely. And last question for you, Matthew, before he let you go. Obviously, you guys have state title aspirations, as you have almost every season since you've been here at Metamora. If you guys are able to do that, let's say you guys are doing a state title, why are you guys able to do that this year in your own mind?
I'd say some of it is obviously Coach Dame. He's been a huge part of it. And then our work ethic. We practice 7 days a week. I think that's huge. There's just no days off. It's always been the mentality and MTXE 365, so we live by that.
I gotta ask a question. I've seen it for many, many years. The back of your warm-ups on your Twitter account. Well, MTXE, what does that stand for, by the way?
Mental toughness, extra effort.
Love it.
Yep.
There's a question that's been on my mind for years. You got to answer it right there, thanks to Matthew Zobrist. And again, you're next year headed to Bradley. Congratulations on that. It'll be fun to stay in the area, playing along with Dietrich Richardson from Manual as well, one of the top players in the entire state over at Manual High School as well. Lots of basketball talent here in Peoria, but also lots of football talent as well, as Metamora trails Morgan Park 35-21 at the halftime. Matthew Zobrist, everyone, thanks for joining us here in the halftime booth, and we'll be right back after these messages on CIProud.com.
Looking for a new pair of boots? Time to replace that old cowboy hat? Branded Country Wear is Central Illinois' one-stop shop for all things country. From jeans to boots to accessories, Branded has something for the entire family.
Central Illinois,
Stop in Monday
we're going
through
to
Saturday
overtime.
and let our friendly, knowledgeable staff make your shopping experience wonderful. Shop online 24/7 at Branded Country.
After 4 years of preps coverage in Central Illinois, Eclipse Sports Media is ready for a
Life
new era.
happens. With
CSM
Ashley's
Overtime.
all-new high-performance
What is
furniture,
CSM
you
Overtime?
can relax.
We're going beyond the
It's
broadcast
life-resistant.
to give you in-depth coverage.
From messes
of
and
your
mishaps
team,
to snacks
your
and
stories,
spills,
your
these pieces are
stats and
easy to
standings,
clean and
your
durable.
highlights and action shots.
Plus, some styles
With your
feature machine
subscription,
washable
you'll get to
covers.
see news and feature
So
stories
bring on the
from
mess
all
with a little less
sports,
stress.
up-to-date stats
And
from around the
discover
area, and
high-performance furniture
thoughtful
at
analysis
Ashley.
from our team of experts.
As for our broadcast and social media coverage,
The heart of
it's
Illinois
only
needs
getting better.
volunteers.
With your
and
support of
can
Clutch
make a
Sports Media
difference. Be
Overtime,
part of a
we'll
global
continue to
community
grow
of
our
people
free
who care.
broadcast
Discover
coverage
the joy
with
and
more sports,
satisfaction that
more
comes with
games,
improving your
and more
community
innovation.
and the lives of
And
the
thanks to
people
our
living in
partnership
it.
with Two Efficient
United
Media,
Way
your
connects
social media
volunteers who are
feeds
ready
will
to
be
work
filled
with
with
opportunities
Central
in the local
Illinois'
area,
best
driving
sights
real
and sounds.
change made by
CSM Overtime will
individuals like
also
you.
give you
Join
access to
United
full
Way in
galleries from some of the
improving
most
lives and
talented
communities
photographers
around us all.
and
Sign
videographers
up today
in
at
our region.
volunteer.hoyunitedway.org.
As the new season approaches, it's time for more.
More action.
More stories.
More coverage of all Central Illinois sports. It's Clutch Sports Media Overtime.
And welcome back here to Metamora at Malone Field. Historic Malone Field, may I add. And Metamora trails 21-35 to Morgan Park. A offensive fireworks show in the first half. Jonathan Michael here alongside Dalton Carmine. And Dalton, it's been a fun weekend of playoff action. It's always fun the second round because you kind of decide, okay, who is for real, who's a state contender, and who is maybe going to come up short this year. A lot of games on Friday, though, last night, especially in the area. Normal Community and Peoria High had some big wins.
Yeah, Normal Community that was such a tough matchup, such a tough opponent, and an absolute shootout. I forget what the exact final score was, but they were able to get it done after facing a ton of adversity on a very cold, rainy night. Community gets it done in Peoria over Thornton Fractional North. I think that was by 30 points, maybe even more. But
He has more than that.
But Peoria High's got a really, really nice road to the state finals for sure. So good on the Lions, and they'll have a home game next week, I believe.
Yes, they certainly will. They'll face the winner of Sacred Heart Griffin and Joliet Catholic, and then obviously the winner of that Peoria High versus whichever those Catholic schools wins will face the winner of this one, and then also whoever wins between Highland and Morris. We'll check on that score here in a bit. Here's some scores around the area right now. regarding Central Illinois teams. How about these? Elmwood Brimfield, a 12-6 loss, rather, that they actually lost to Dwight. Had that score flipped around there, but a tough loss for the Trojans on the road in Class 2A. East St. Louis taking it to Normal West, 27-0 in the second quarter. A little surprise there. That Flyers team is probably headed back to the state championship.
Yeah, I would imagine, and then lots of chalk as I've just take a glance out there at the scoreboard. And Normal West got to be so sick of East St. Louis. The Flyers, man, they just continue to end Normal West's runs year in and year out. And, yeah, tough loss for Elmwood Brimfield. They did lose 12-6 to Dwight in a game that they were favored to win in Class 2A. It's even more unpredictable.
On the road there, Elmwood Brimfield season comes to an end at 8-2. How about this? Bloomington's keeping it close with Kankakee at the half. That was a game, Dalton. I was really thinking Bloomington might not be closing because Kankakee has beaten Washington. They've beaten Normal Community. They've beaten the best teams in Central Illinois, but Bloomington's hanging with them. And Farmington and Rockridge locked in a battle in Class 2A, 14-10 in small school action. That game in the fourth quarter.
I, without a doubt, had the K's running away with that game against Bloomington, but good on the Purple Raiders for hanging with them at half. And Farmington, after a pretty slow offensive showing last week against DMAC, looks like their offense has struggled once again, just 14 points. But the good news is the opposition only has 10. So if that stout defense of the Farmers can stay strong, they've got a berth in the quarterfinals.
And some other scores just around the area. Leroy leading Rockford Lutheran 34-21 in the third quarter. Tri-Valley, another Class 2A team, trying to keep their season alive. They lead Chicago Christian 14-9 at the half. And also games last night. Again, Peoria Notre Dame lost a tough one to Mount Zion 43-29. The Irish season comes to an end in 4A. And Washington, they got their clock cleaned by Oaklawn Richards 42-14 last night. That was a surprising result.
That's probably the most surprising result of week 2 so far. I'm not surprised Washington lost per se because it was a tough matchup against Oaklawn Richards, but losing 42-14 was not on my bingo card whatsoever. And yeah, tough game for PND. I thought they could take down the Mount Zion Braves after stunning Rochester. Just couldn't quite get it done. The defense had a few slip-ups, so their season is cut short, unfortunately, as well. But good season for them nonetheless.
And all that means that Metamora is the lone Mid-Illini team remaining. They are fighting to keep the conference alive here in the IHSA playoffs. Quarterfinal berth here on the line from Malone Field. We'll take another quick break and be right back with the second half and kickoff right after this on CIProud.com.
Family banking from a name you trust, Hometown Community Banks. For over 6 decades, we've been here right where you needed us. High-quality banking services delivered by caring professionals, people just like you who live and love Central Illinois. It's a history we're proud of and one we'll continue to offer to every person who walks through our doors. When you bank in your hometown, your money stays in your hometown. Hometown Community Banks, divisions of Morton Community Bank. Look for the clock tower and you'll know we have time for you.
That mountain of boxes won't pack itself, but Peoria Production Solutions will. Let us handle your packaging and assembly. Our highly trained team uses computerized inventory control and specialized equipment to ensure your customers receive their items on time. Let us help you grow and scale your business. Give us a call or visit peoriapros.com for a quote today.
Join us for our fun holiday events. Check out the website on MackinacValleyVineyard.com.
The Bob Grimm way starts with us.
The Bob Grimm experience, what I like is that, you put customers first, make sure we meet every expectation and make a long-lasting relationship with them so that, they know that we're here for them and for their friends and family.
Don't try to put someone in a car that is not going to work for them. If you don't have what they want, try to get it, the proper vehicle. Again, just treat people the way you'd want to be treated and a fair deal.
That's the Bob Grimm way.
Michael's Italian Feast, home of the best subs, pizza bread, grilled cheese, and Italian beef fry. The best pile-high subs and hot sandwiches in Central Illinois. And no one has better homemade, always fresh from the oven bread. Michael's Italian Feast.
I am Taryn, and I am currently a parent at Peoria Academy with my daughter, Harley. What I love about the small class sizes here is the teachers are really able to pay attention to the students and what their needs are and how they grow or how they learn or how they listen. It's been great for our child and her needs. The IB curriculum has really helped our daughter grow and have this new enthusiasm for subjects. And it's great to see her come home excited, wanting to teach us what she learned at school today.
Back in Metamora, second half of Class 5A second round action, our WMBD game of the week. The Morgan Park Mustangs hardly had an empty drive at all, and they lead 35-21 over Metamora as we get started for half number 2. Jonathan Michael and Dalton Carmine here in the booth. Thanks for tuning in with us wherever you are, whether you're in Chicago, maybe a couple states away, maybe even in a different country. Glad you're with us here for some Illinois playoff action. It doesn't really get much better than this, Dalton. You see two teams that are some of the best in their respective areas, lots of offense. Maybe if you're a defense lover, maybe not the game for you, but this game has lived up to the hype.
Yeah, and both teams are really going to look to impress some of those defense-loving fans because both defenses really, really need to step up, specifically Metamoras, if they want to claw their way back into this game, make it a one-possession game. Just lots and lots of moving parts, lots and lots of opportunities for both sides to expose the other, and interesting to see how both teams attack each other. Specifically, I'm really, really looking at the start of this third quarter. I think it's going to set the tone for the rest of the game.
Definitely, and coming into this game, I think again that one question mark was going to be, Metamora's, both question marks are on Metamora. How is their defense going to respond to Morgan Park's dynamic offense? The Redbirds have only pitched one shutout this entire season. Morgan Park has pitched 7 shutouts this season. So, hey, props to Metamora for scoring 21 on them in the first half. That was the most that Morgan Park has allowed this year has been 29. That was back in week 1 against Chicago Mariners in 8A power.
Certainly, and erased that week 1. Metamora has already got more points than every team Morgan Park has played the entire season, if you look away from week 1.
Wow.
Put it all together. They've only given up 13 points in their 9 wins. Metamora's got 21 points. So really nice second half is on the way. I am pumped.
And we are underway. Kickoff brought to you by Michaels in the second half. Kick takes a bounce and brought in by Frederick from the 18. Gets some good blocks up to about the 40. That's a strong return from Mark Frederick. The Metamora senior who plays wide receiver and safety, a little bit of a do-it-all athlete for the Redbirds.
Yeah, you will certainly take that field position starting on your own 40 for Metamora. Everybody's had a break and can kind of mentally and physically just rejuvenate a little bit, if you will, and time to go out there and lay it all out there with their season on the line.
So they'll take over from the 41. Clouds starting to cover Malone Field a little bit. Rain's been off and on today, but is held off, I believe, for the most part. Obviously, we're nice and dry here in the booth. As Kyle, short gain on first down. He got maybe up to the 41.
Yeah, going to have to establish that run game if you're Metamora. That's the heart and soul of your team, and begins with the O-line, really. But despite their apart from those 2 very, very huge plays from Cranford, the running game has left just a little bit to be desired, I'd say.
Yeah, Petrie has had some good runs, especially on 3rd and 4th downs. They've been able to convert on those via the run, but it's just a matter of getting those good, strong gains on 1st and 2nd down that really help open up the playbook. Morrison, the tight end, is in motion. Petrie claps, hands off to Kyle. Kyle stumbles forward, then gets pushed back. Looks like that may have been Quincy Shearer on the stop for Morgan Park. Again, he is the guy that is the glue of this defense and a 4-year starter.
Yeah, high praise from his coach there and within good reason. And just like that, you look up at the scoreboard, a few plays into this second half, and it's 3rd and 8, uncomfortable down and distance for the Redbirds. Got to find a way.
Jared Grebner said that we want to ride the coattails of our linemen here in the playoffs, and they will try and do so here and get some big blocks on 3rd and 8. Two wideouts for the Redbirds. Petrie hands it off to Kyle. And not going to get the first down yardage there. That may have just been a play to set up a 4th and medium from the 46. Redbirds going to need the Morgan Park 49.
Another big decision here for Coach Grebner, but you probably have to go for it here. You don't want to just immediately give the ball back to Morgan Park's offense right after you received the second half kick, and it looks like that's what he's going to do. Tough decision, but I think this is the right one.
Redbirds break the huddle quickly. Grebner again, the lone wide receiver, matched up with Washington. Petrie's going to keep it across it looked like he was going to get across the 50, but he came up short, and he needed the 49, so that's going to be Mustang football, and they force a quick stop. That's huge for the visitors.
Maybe just a yard short was Petrie, and the Orange and Green faithful on the far side of the field are getting rowdy as they know that's a massive, massive stop to start the second half, and a score here really has the Mustangs threatening to run away with it. And one other thing, we've seen some pretty small crowds from some of the Chicago areas in games that we've broadcast, and that's nothing against them because, who would want to make that drive? Right. Morgan Park has one of the bigger ones I've seen. It might not look as big just to the naked eye, but good on them for making that Saturday afternoon trip to Central Illinois.
Lots of orange and green across the way, and right below us, lots of Metamora red. Strong crowd on hand here despite the cold weather and the elements. Multiple flags fly. Terrence Gurley is breaking this free for a first down. A big run, one of his longer ones of the day, but we'll see if it stands.
Yeah, I see 3 flags just at first glance, so I don't know if it'll be coming back. Yeah, legal shift is going to be the call. That one will be coming back. So another unforced error on Morgan Park.
Now we'll move the Mustangs back.
Yeah, still only 10 yards, give or take, away from enemy territory, but not a penalty that you want to commit. Unforced error.
There's been a couple penalties for Morgan Park, but it has not hindered them whatsoever. And that's why Terrence Gurley misses an ankle tackle. He's still going down the sidelines. Gurley extends it into the end zone. Touchdown, Morgan Park, 55 yards.
Gurley has just been one of the most underrated players on the team, underrated players of this game, and he just, with a burst of speed, leaves the black jerseys in the dust for his second touchdown of the game and puts Morgan Park up 21 points, barring a missed extra point.
Again, there's just been too many Mustangs in the open field. The horses are breaking out of the barn for Morgan Park, and they just have too much speed for Metamora to catch them. So the Redbirds are going to have to find an answer now, down 3 scores. That PAT is well short, not even going to reach the back of the end zone there. So that keeps it a 20-point game. But Terrence Gurley, his 3rd touchdown run of the day. He got things started with a 40-yard jaunt, then a 2-yard run. That one coming from 55.
Yeah, he's just all over the field. We talked about Thaxton, we talked about Rankin, talked about Jackson. But Morgan Park has a running game too. They've done a phenomenal job of using that running game today.
Good blocks too from the O-line, and that scoring drive brought to you by Papa John's. Again, just another very quick drive for Morgan Park. They only need kind of on your hands the amount of plays that Morgan Park needs to score. Most of these drives that they've had.
Yeah, a lot of them, like we touched on earlier in the broadcast, they've had pretty solid field position more often than not. But I mean that time, good field position again, and they capitalize it. They get good field position, they capitalize. Just rinse and repeat for Morgan Park.
41-21 is your score. Another low kick coming from the Mustangs, picked up by Grebner. Trying to push a blocker. That's Pickles out there. He gets wrapped up at the 32. Big tackle there coming from Jacob Ware. And as the Metamora offense comes back out in the field now, Dalton, let's take a look at a bird's eye view at the last 3 games. Some strong numbers. Metamora's been running the ball well recently, and they're going to need to replicate that here now with their backs against the wall.
Yeah, strong numbers, and they're more or less even across the board. Not many high school teams in the state can evenly distribute carries among 3 different guys. But Metamora is that one lone team, or one of a few, I would say, and they do it really well.
Metamora's going to need more of that guy, Jadon Cranford. He's got 3 touchdowns today. Cuts it back, picks up about 2. It looks like multiple times, Dalton, I've been fooled. I've been thinking that Metamora is going to pick up 4 or 5, but then a Morgan Park defender just flies in there and keeps it to a shorter gain.
Yeah, absolutely, John. And just the strong front seven for Morgan Park, combined with those freakishly athletic defensive backs swooping in to make a tackle here and there. It's really, really made for a strong defensive showing again from Morgan Park.
That's the tough part about Metamora is, you're down 20, season on the line, you're probably going to want to throw the football. Problem is you got 3 or 4 Division I commits in the opposing secondary as we saw Jamari Washington with that interception earlier in this game. See if he can do that at Camp Randall next year.
Indeed. And to your earlier point there, John, Metamora just doesn't really have much of a passing game anyway, so even if Morgan Park didn't have all these D1 commits in the secondary, they probably wouldn't be able to pass it nonetheless.
Now 3rd and 7. Metamora offense starting to get a bit stagnant. They need some life. Cranford can't get the block, and he's going down for a loss. Jacob Ware, the senior linebacker, making the play.
Might see our first punt of the game here, John. Wouldn't surprise me. You do not want to give Morgan Park good field position again with a chance to go up. That would be 4 scores if they could score another unanswered touchdown, but good chance to see as our first punt of the game.
I think that you have to punt it here on 4th and 9, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Jared Grebner rolling the dice. 4th and 9 in their own territory. Petrie looking to pass. He's got good protection. Looking for a man in Cote. A flag comes in. This could be pass interference. There's some frustration on Morgan Park. Jovan Clark is livid.
I think it is pass interference, but I mean, most of the white jerseys threw their hands up. Like, what do you mean pass interference? But if it is, that's obviously huge.
That's the second time today that Metamora's gotten bailed out on a 3rd or 4th and long with the pass interference. As Clark the Washington State commit, was not happy with that call.
Yeah, with their season on the line, you take first downs any way you can get them, especially when you're trailing by 20. So Redbirds just got to thank their lucky stars, move on, punch this ball into the end zone.
First and 10 now from the 48. Cranford up the middle. No blocking again for Metamora. As Washington and company brought him down. It's like Tristan Housen. Freshman also got in on that.
Morgan Park is really, really starting to cheat. They're really packing that front 7 in there. Then why not? Metamora's going to the run game, 9 times out of 10. You got to challenge them and make them throw the football when you know that your defensive back are better than their receivers. That's the kind of football you can play, and Coach James has figured that out.
It's a mashup of athletes versus good old-fashioned toughness, and so far it's the athletes winning it so far. Petrie, he's going down for a big loss. Demetrius Rule, the senior X-Factor at linebacker.
And like you said, John, 10 seniors on this Morgan Park defense. They've seen teams that have heavy run games before. This is no stranger to them. They could figure out, if you pass the football, we're going to beat you even quicker than when you run the football, so they can start cheating a little bit. And what do you know, another uncomfortable down and distance for Metamora.
And that was something that their head coach, Chris James, told us. He said, these guys have been in every single game possible against every single type of opponent. Nothing phases them. 3rd and 12, it's a screen to Cranford. Running out of room. This Morgan Park defense is just energized. And it's Jovan Clark making the stop on 3rd and 12.
And that screen pass is basically the only type of pass that's consistently been open for Metamora. So I don't hate the call there whatsoever, but Morgan Park all over it. They probably knew it was coming. And now 4th and 12 with under 6 to go in our 3rd quarter.
Now it's even tougher for Metamora. This Mustangs offense, it's like you plugged them into a charging outlet at halftime. You just took it out, and it's just boom, ready to go.
Yeah, they absolutely are ready to go.
Get some drums out there. They're the Energizer Bunnies. 4th and 15 here for Petrie and the offense. Frederick at the bottom of your screen. 3 wide receivers to the top, and some confusion on the Redbirds side. They want to talk things over.
Yeah, just give everybody a nice little breather and really let everybody know how important this drive is right here. Don't want to give Morgan Park the ball back with good field position once more.
And the winner of this game will face the winner of Highland and Morris. Morgan Park, if they win, would host regardless. It's the advantage you get of being the number 1 seed. So they would welcome someone up to Gately Stadium, another historic venue up in Chicago.
And if it is Highland, if Highland can pull off the win against Morris, that would be one heck of a drive for Highland, because I believe Highland is down near the southern part of the state. Morgan Park, of course, south side of Chicago. But either way, I think Morgan Park's going to give whoever they play a real run for their money. No doubt about that.
Definitely. As I look at both these teams, their playoff histories, Metamora's playoff history is almost unmatched. Look at their playoff record. They just played their 100th playoff game. They lead 67-33. Well over 500 in the playoffs, along with 3 straight titles. Morgan Park, though, a couple of playoff berth and quarterfinal berths as well, looking for number 7 here today. Petrie. A deep pass, intercepted by Morgan Park. This is going to be a big run back. Down the sideline, this is going to be a touchdown for the Mustangs.
My goodness. I mean, you could really see it coming with
Kendall Griffin.
Back. Yeah, it was Kendall Griffin rising up, making the pick. Called his name a few times here today. Just turned on the Jets on the sideline. I think he needs some reps at receiver, showing off those wheels. And he's in for 6, and Morgan Park starting to run away with it. Like I said, they were threatening to do so, and I think that's in full effect now. And also would like to give a huge shout out to DeAndre Smith, the defensive end, who just absolutely plowed one of the Metamora offensive players, throwing a block for Griffin.
That is a game-changing play right there. Metamora was losing momentum. They were kind of slipping down the slope, and there they kind of just, that's a play that kind of let go, and now they're searching for answers down 27.
Yeah, not a dagger, but it hurts, and it hurts bad, and you can tell by just the quietness of this side of the field right now, and on the other side, quite the opposite.
This home side is silent. PAT good for Morgan Park. Makes it 48-21. You just almost feel bad if you're Metamora, because your strength is running the ball, but you're facing a deficit. You want to pass, and again, things like that happen as you see Petrie's second pick of the game. That turnover brought to you by Force Basements.
And you had to think that this was a possible outcome, no matter who you are. If you know anything about these two teams, you know that if Morgan Park could step up and stop the run, then Metamora was really going to struggle to get anything offensively going. It was certainly a possibility. Looked like that was going to go out the window in the first half, but Morgan Park out of the locker room has figured it out to the tune of a 48-21 advantage.
If you would have said, okay, we got 2 scores in the first 6 minutes of the third quarter, if you're Metamora, you're feeling great about yourself. We got a tight ball game there, and you're probably in the lead. But those 2 touchdowns, if both of them go to Morgan Park, and it is a tall mountain to climb. And I'll see how they regroup. Some hands on the hips and some long looks from the black helmets here today. We'll see if they can rejuvenate themselves.
Season's on the line. Got to find a way, John. Got to find a way to fight back.
See if they can make a play on the kick return. Bounces in front of Frederick. He's got some good blocks. A decent return before he's pushed out by Kendall Griffin, who, again, just had that pick 6. It was tough to see who made that interception right away because there were so many orange helmets and white jerseys. I mean, Griffin could have just almost walked into the end zone.
Yeah, all of them, I mean, immediately read the play, noticed that it was going to get intercepted, and booked it towards the other side of the field to lay some blocks for Griffin. Yeah, like you said, he really clear path. A lot of green turf in front of him. Waltz into the end zone for 6.
Now Metamora needs to make a play. I don't know how, not sure with who, but they need a big play to get this offense going, and hand off up to Kyle. And Cranford has had some big ones today. That 55-yard touchdown, 53-yard touchdown, 34-yard screen pass. Other than that, it's been pretty dry in terms of the offensive production.
Yeah, just a lot of runs up the middle that aren't doing for much. And then I credit Morgan Park's defense more than anything else in that regard.
So 2nd and 8 from the 39. Another handoff to Kyle, running to the right side. Metamora has been favoring that side today. That makes it about a 3rd and medium. So positive play there for the Redbirds as you get a look at Evan Kyle's numbers. He's looking to play at the D3, possibly NAIA level in college.
Certainly can do so with those numbers. A lot of carries. Coach Grebner really relies on an experienced senior to have the football in his hands, and for good reason.
And again, Cranford is just a junior, so he'll be coming back next year. Petrie runs into a massive humanity, and he's pushed backwards. Couple Mustangs in on that stop, including Demetrius Rule and Mackay Hubbard.
Yep, keeping the offense out there, unsurprisingly, as Coach Grebner's Redbirds. And 5 yards is the less yards than they've needed on their last handful of drives, so this seems more doable at the bare bones of it.
This Morgan Park defense has been characterized as a bend but not break. They hardly give up any scores in the red zone. I don't think Metamora has even been in the red zone today. 4th and 5. Petrie, another little tunnel screen and a pass, and it's lit up by that was Javon Clark, again the safety, laying the lumber.
My goodness, just flying from out of nowhere. They are so quick, Morgan Park is. And as you said, John, laying the lumber and another big defensive stop. And again, ball back to the orange and green.
And in Metamora territory, no less. Turnover brought to you by Force Basements. And Metamora just hasn't had the answers. This team, Morgan Park, so athletic. It's just not much else you can do unless you match up with them physically, which again, we talked about at the top of the broadcast. These are two contrasting style teams, and there goes a long run for Terrence Gurley. He high-fives McMahon. Celebration is on for Morgan Park. Him and Rankin share a moment, and it's 54-21 Mustangs now.
I think that was Cranford over there who almost got to the ball carrier before he got to the end zone. But, yeah, I mean, lots to celebrate for Morgan Park. Another touchdown, make it 54-21, and another touchdown coming off of big yardage at that.
Unsportsmanlike conduct call there on Morgan Park. Not often you get to see a running back. It's got so much open space that he's able to have a high five with his teammate and to see a Rankin there. And boy, they can feel a quarterfinal berth coming their way.
Yeah, I've never seen that one either, John. And well, when you're as good as Gurley and you're as fast as Gurley, you can outrun everybody and you can do whatever you want those last 10 yards. I mean, no one says you're not going to get penalized for it, but in theory, you can do whatever you want. But
I'm sure Morgan Park is going to be happy with taking the flag there. And there was a Metamora defender in the vicinity. I believe that may have been one of their safeties chasing him down. It looked like there was a chance that he could bring him down, especially as Gurley slowed up for that high five with Rankin. But again, Gurley now wearing number 36. He started the game in his number 5 jersey, but since it got torn and ripped, he had to switch out with his teammate Lathan Barnes. Different jerseys, same results. PAT through is 55-21.
Same lightning quick speed. And speaking of quick, Morgan Park really quickly ran away with this game. It was really a coin flip at halftime, I believe, John. And like I said, it's going to come down to who can get off to the faster start in the third quarter. That question's been answered.
Yeah, and it was that defense that gave that momentum over to Morgan Park. A very quick 3 and out. It took over a 55-yard run from Gurley. Scoring drive brought to you by Papa John's. Then there was that pick 6 from Kendall Griffin, and then the long rush from Gurley. And this Metamora team just looks gassed. Not maybe because of the toughness, but because of just they have to go full throttle this entire game to even come close to having the same speed and athleticism as Morgan Park does.
Yeah, Morgan Park's depth is really showing off as well. They're making a lot more substitutions than Metamora is. Keeping those fresh legs out there. Now, with a 55-21 lead, Morgan Park could just take a step back, and I would expect to see more running plays from the Mustangs throughout the rest of this game.
Yeah, no need to pass, and unfortunately for us up here in the booth, we're just wanting to see a fun game with some big plays and some big-time players. Probably no more than to see Rankin, or at least no need to throw it to Rankin anymore, but if you're Morgan Park, too, you got a big lead. I don't want to talk about, resting the starters just yet, but if you can't continue this lead for the next few minutes, you can keep some of those guys fresh and healthy for your next game against either Highland or Morris.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, John. That's a good call. I would imagine that Coach James would look into doing something like that.
Frederick with some speed across the 45, now across midfield. Mark Frederick runs right into a man and brought down at the 37. He collided there with Stanley Thompson, the senior wide receiver. And so a good return there from Metamora, but again, they have got to get things going in a hurry. Probably talking at least 2 scores before the end of the quarter.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. You cannot have one single empty possession, and you need to score quick. You can't be taking time off the clock. That time has passed. Clock is not your friend, and it would take a miracle, but crazier things have happened. See what the Redbirds have up their sleeve, if anything.
Another screen out to Grebner, trying to get around a man. Picks up some yardage, and then Javon Clark says that's enough of that and pushes him out.
Yeah, and to your earlier point, John, it's probably a lot more running plays, not as much of an electric second half as it was compared to the first half, but hey, that's just football.
You look at Avery Grebner's numbers there, and he's been asked to wear a lot of different hats his senior season. He's been a phenomenal player. I think, if I had to guess, probably an all-Mid-Illini Conference shoe-in. Good numbers at wide receiver. Again, he was ready to play quarterback when Petrie went down. He's also arguably the conference's best defensive back, even though it matched up against Rankin maybe hasn't seemed like it today. But he is going to be missed, the son of head coach Jared Grebner, after his career ends, as that run's stuffed. So many orange helmets every time there's a Metamora ball carrier. It's just been, yeah, because like you said, they've been able to cheat. They know it's coming.
Absolutely. It seems like every time that I even see the football be in somebody's hands, there's already an orange helmet and a white jersey there to bring them down. It's been the story of the second half, and then the score reflects that.
Speaking of those orange helmets, I got to say, those are some of the favorites I've seen. Just Morgan Park's color scheme, I wish was more replicated. I love the dark green and the orange. Big fan of that.
You just don't see it. I can't even think of another team off the top of my head that rocks the orange and the green.
In college, you got maybe a University of Florida went with some alternates, but even then, it's not quite the same shade of green.
Miami, Florida, if you will.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. Yeah, very
not the same shade, but
reminiscent
close
of the
enough.
U.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm sure the U could use some of these players as well. Florida A&M is our producer. Owen Dimple shouts out.
Nice pull. No, and I would have never thought of Florida A&M coming out of the SWAC, but
the Rattlers.
The Rattlers, yeah, one of the better color schemes and better names across Division I
sports. 4th and 4, long pass, and it's in and out of the hands of Mark Frederick. A strong ball by Petrie on the run, and a nice attempt there by Frederick, but just hit the turf a bit too hard. Back to Morgan Park football. And, you bring up the SWAC. You think about those schools, especially those historically black colleges and universities. I always want to go to one of those games just to see not just the game, but also the band and, the dance troupe, whatever they have. I was looking at Morgan Park. They have a band and a dance troupe called the Emeralds. That's very reminiscent of what you would see in those SWAC schools. And I got to say, I was impressed with their talent, especially seeing them on some videos on Instagram.
Yeah, band is not exactly just an extracurricular that you pick up when you're in college at an HBCU. It's your life. You're basically a D1 athlete at that point.
Gurley spins out of a tackle, and he's brought down by Petrie. Unfortunately, no band or Emeralds for Morgan Park here this game. They didn't make the trip, but they'll probably be back in action next week as long as Mustangs are able to hang on. This third quarter coming to an end.
Yeah, I think their offense is making just as much noise as a band would, so it cancel out, if you will.
And they have had no shortage of stuff to cheer about. That sideline has been loud all game long. Huge, huge third quarter for Morgan Park. It was going to be one that kind of maybe decided the ball game, and they score 20 and shut out Metamora in that third quarter, brought to you by Peoria Production Solutions. We'll be right back with the fourth quarter from Malone Field. Redbirds have a steep mountain to climb. Back after these messages here from Clutch Sports Media.
Passionate, focused, strong, qualities that you look for in a great athlete, and also a great lawyer. At Strong Law Offices, injury law is at the heart of what we do. Our team is on your side. When the game is on the line, let us tackle your claim.
Sheets Creek Saloon is your stop for great food and drinks in Spring Bay. Enjoy our delicious steaks, real Canadian walleye, crispy fried chicken, and our featured drinks in a great atmosphere. Sheets Creek Saloon, only in Spring Bay.
I am Taryn, and I am currently a parent at Peoria Academy with my daughter, Harley. What I love about the small class sizes here is the teachers are really able to pay attention to the students and what their needs are and how they grow or how they learn or how they listen. It's been great for our child and her needs. The IB curriculum has really helped our daughter grow and have this new enthusiasm for subjects. And it's great to see her come home excited, wanting to teach us what she learned at school today.
And welcome back to Malone Field. 2nd and 7 here for the Mustangs. And pass complete. Big pickup of 27. Marcus Thaxton. Haven't said his name much today, Dalton, but nice throw there. And he keeps it moving.
Thaxton has been very, very efficient. He hasn't really aired out the football as much as he might be used to, but can count on one hand the amount of incomplete passes he has and no turnovers for Morgan Park, and period. No interceptions, no fumbles. It's another reason why they're up so big.
Gurley won't go down. Pickup of about 1. And yeah, Thaxton too. He's also a guy, we haven't seen him yet, but he's not bad running the football either. He's got offers from Western Illinois, Kent State, New Mexico State.
Yeah, I believe he's the 3-star recruit, if I remember right,
Yep.
and he'll be playing at the next level for sure. He'll be playing in FCS.
If he goes to Western Illinois, he'd be teammates with Metamora linebacker Cameron Nickel. Here's a 2nd and 8. Thaxton will keep it. He said, "Okay, you haven't seen me running. I'll
He heard you.
show you here." Makes about a 3rd and medium.
I always wonder for a guy like Thaxton who has offers from FCS and FBS schools, what route do you take as a 3-star? You know, if you go to an FBS, you probably will have less playing time to start your career, but, you know, better athletic facilities, bigger school,
Sure.
all that. At an FCS school, you probably get playing time sooner. I guess just leave it up to personal preference at that point. I'm sure scholarship plays a big part as well.
Definitely, I think a lot of it comes to, you know, scholarship, also, you know, playing time as well. Terrence Gurley still going across the first down marker, keeps it moving for the Mustangs. I do know that we have one member of Clutch Sports Media who's not here today, but a big fan of New Mexico State, Arts Cody Roskins. He had a dynasty with New Mexico State in NCAA 14 for the longest time. And I bet if he had Marcus Thaxton in that game, he'd probably be doing pretty well.
Yeah, I'd be sending the house at Marcus Thaxton if I was playing NCAA 25 or 14 for that matter. That's one I would want in my program, someone that could really develop into a superstar, I believe.
Maybe some of these coaches are hitting the send DM button
there you
after
go.
this game.
Contact friends and family.
Here's Thaxton, another big throw. That time is incomplete. Braden Bittner making a strong play on the football there. Nice job from the junior cornerback to prevent the long throw. He was looking for Stanley Thompson as we have a player down for Metamora. Let's take a look at that 5A bracket. We talked about it before this game. Again, a winner of this game will face the winner of Morris and Highland, two very strong playoff teams every single year. That game kicks off at 4, so that one just about to get going. Other games in the North bracket, Sycamore killed Westinghouse 69-12. I think there's a little surprise there. That Sycamore team has just been phenomenal this season. Nazareth Academy, a win over Woodstock North, also in the North bracket. And Wheaton St. Francis beats Prairie Ridge 30-21. So there is 3 of your 4 teams from that 5A North. St. Francis, Nazareth Academy, and Sycamore. All 3 of those are top 4 teams. Sacred Heart Griffin and Joliet Catholic, no score from that game, but it sounds like Joliet Catholic was ahead big time last time we checked.
I want to say at halftime when I checked, they were up 27-0, 28-0, something of that nature. But yeah, Joliet's the favorite in that one, so nothing shocking. And of course, want to keep an eye on that one because that's who Peoria High plays in the next round.
Definitely it. Class 2A final, Farmington beats Rockridge 14-10 at home. And so the Farmers will now take on Dwight Gardner South Wilmington, who beat Elmwood Brimfield earlier today as a shaken up Redbird there on the play. There was number 67. That was Jacob Akama, their senior lineman. Hopefully he is okay. And 2nd and 10 here for Morgan Park at the 27. So far for Central Illinois team still alive in the playoffs, you got Normal Community, win over Prospect last night. You got Peoria High, big win over Thornton Fractional North. Looking like Metamora might be the end of the road for them here today. Same goes for Normal West.
Yeah, Farmington's still in there.
Farmington is still in there. Tri-Valley now trails Chicago Christian 24-14 in the 4th quarter. That's a surprise. Vikings are a phenomenal football team that's been playing well.
I had Tri-Valley in my state championship for, is that Class 2A, 3A? One of the two.
2A.
I want to say 2A, yeah. I had them in my state championship. So
buckle up for this one. Class 3A final. Many people who follow football and say know how good the Byron Tigers are.
Oh my goodness!
They fell to Lombard Montini 14-13.
No
so Byron
shot.
is out
Byron
in the 2nd round. That's a tough draw though against Montini, a very good Catholic school.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, how'd that even happen this early? How would those two teams match up in just the 2nd round? My goodness, Byron was as much.
They were my pick to win the 3A title.
As much of a shoe-in as you can be across any class. If you gave me $20 and said, put this on any team across any class to win the state championship, I would have put it on Byron. Unbelievable. Good stuff from Lombard Montini.
Shout out to Montini. Another 3A game to watch. Tolono Unity putting it down to St. Joe Ogden 35-7. That's a surprising outcome.
35-7. Wow.
Right there again. Also, again, back to the local action. Eureka faces Wilmington tonight. That's going to be a tough draw for the Hornets on the road. Normal U-High is just kicked off with Richland County down at Hancock Stadium. We'll have some coverage of that game on CSM Overtime. Subscribe today for all sorts of high school sports coverage in Central Illinois as Thaxton throws it to the outside. Complete to his man, Stanley Thompson gets thrown out of bounds. There's a flag down. Thompson a bit slow to get up, but boy, he was shot out of a cannon after catching that one.
Yeah, that play right there makes me wonder why they don't go to him more often because he had that and just took off down the sideline. Yeah, flag at the backfield, usually that's on the offense.
We got some other games around the area. Again, Class 6A, top seed Cary Grove moves past Antioch 41-8. Close game between Libertyville and Lake Forest, and the Scouts of Lake Forest win that one 23-17.
That's upset.
Kankakee has opened up a 27-7 lead over Bloomington. So Purple Raiders are keeping it close, but again, that Case team is maybe one of the few teams that could beat East St. Louis before they reach the state title game.
Yeah, I think I like the Flyers in that one, but Kankakee is good. They are real good and played a really tough schedule that only helps you in the playoffs. So.
I almost wish Morgan Park was 6A. I'd love to see them play teams like East St. Louis or Kankakee. I think they'd match up very well with them. I think they could more than hold their own.
A Morgan Park versus East St. Louis game would, as our generation says, feed families. That would be an unbelievable matchup. wish there was a way to make that happen.
Hey, who needs dinner when you can watch a matchup like that?
Indeed.
Morgan Park is going to be eating up some clock and probably eating up a W here in Metamora as a flag flies before the snap. 4th and 11 here on the 28. It's going to be a false start to make it 4th and 16. If you're Metamora, again, these final 8 minutes, outcome is inevitable, likely at this point, but you just want something good to, end your season on and get a good taste in your mouth.
Right. If you're a senior, you want to leave it all out there because for almost all of them, it's their last football game of their lives. And we've all been there that have played at high school sports.
Daxton's pass is tipped and fouls incomplete, so Metamora finally forces a turnover on downs. Unfortunately, it's too little too late, but small silver lining there for Jerry Grebner's crew. And you mentioned it, Dalton, again, the last football game, especially for those that don't play in college, is just even more heartbreaking because, for example, basketball. You can still play basketball with your friends if you don't play in college. You can still lace them up until you're, older for a while. Same goes with, baseball or golf especially as well.
Yeah.
Lots of sports you can play for your entire life. Football, there's not really many, at least, tackle football leagues you can play in outside of organized high school, college, NFL, as they get a pitch out here to Evan Kyle. And, again, so that's why it stings a bit more.
Yes, is more than likely. Last time putting on the pads for a lot of these guys, so they're going to leave it all out there in true Metamora fashion. And for everybody that's not a senior, you owe it to the seniors to go out with a bang and really give them your best effort as a way of saying thank you, I appreciate you, thank you for everything you've done for the program over these last very successful 4 years for the Redbirds.
Definitely. Again, even though the situation is dire right now for Metamora, it's still been a strong season. They got another playoff win. They've been on a great streak of wins in the playoffs. They won their first round game back in 2022, back in 2023. We called that game against Decatur MacArthur.
That was a fun one.
As Kyle plows ahead for a strong first down, a pickup of 16 there. And obviously a win over Centralia. Also, we're glad that Metamora won because there was not going to be many games in the area for us to broadcast. A lot of Central Illinois teams on the road here in the second round.
It was slim pickings for us over at the Clutch Sports headquarters.
But this was one of the best games that we had our eyes on. It wasn't just because we put out a necessity. I wanted this game for once I saw the brackets, and we definitely got it.
All in all, we lucked out. That's for sure. I'm happy we got this one. And yeah, if Metamora didn't come back and beat Centralia, we would probably either be nowhere or be somewhere on the road or probably up north.
Yeah, probably. We'll see where we're going to be next week. Peoria High, though, again, looking like they might face Joliet Catholic, might be at that game. So tell your friends and family to be on the lookout. Again, you can follow us at Clutch Sports Media on Facebook, Clutch Sports Media as well on Instagram, Clutch Sports IL on Twitter or X, however you call it. Stay updated with everything that goes on. Our schedule announcements will announce where we're going next week. Post all of our stories, recapping the second round of playoff action as well. Again, basketball season coming up. We got some basketball previews going to be hitting CSM overtime soon, so go ahead and get that subscription now. Won't regret it. Lots of Central Illinois high school sports content coming your way there.
Super excited for basketball season as always, and I love this time of the year where football season, I mean, it throws an alley-oop to basketball season almost. It's like, okay, now I'm done. Now you have full takeover. There's no dead period, and there's none of that. Just one to the other beauty of high school sports.
Well, I'm sure you love it, and I love it as well, but also at the same time, it's a bit tougher. You got to still put the bow on one season while preparing for the other as well. I gotta hop on. I gotta find out every team's schedule for every team in the area for the entire winter season, as well as do those football previews, figure out what games you want to broadcast as well. Lots of stuff on the plate for anyone working in sports right now. Again, go see even the local TV guys. They're dealing with multiple things. College sports, college basketball starting as well. You got NFL going on, college football, obviously, like we just said. But November is kind of that equinox time for all sports, kind of that big melting pot. Hand off to Kyle. Goes up for about two. Nice drive being put together by Metamora now, albeit against Morgan Park's second stringers. The D1 contingent no longer in the game for the Mustangs, but nice forward plays for this Redbirds team, and their starters, though, are still in.
Yep, put the seniors in, leave starters in, let them right off into the sunset, if you will, with under 5.5 to go in their season.
And Metamora was going punch for punch with Morgan Park as Petrie flips it up. Cote can't hang on to it. In that first half, again, Gurley had that touchdown run. Then Metamora made it 7-7. A big turning point, though, was when Morgan Park got that touchdown back, made it 14-7, and then stopped Metamora on a turnover on downs, and then got that touchdown from Gray to go up 21-7. After that, they were ahead by 2 possessions for most of the rest of the game, but Metamora cut it to 21-14, then 27-21. So they were in this one for part of it, but they just were not quite the same football team in the second half.
Yeah.
Morgan Park, they've got to give them credit as well. They come out of the second half ready to play.
If I was Highlander Morris, I'd be scared after watching just how fast this Morgan Park team took over this game against a good Metamora team on the road nonetheless.
A little bit of a flip of last week for Metamora. Last week it was their second half that carried them to victory, and this week, I was going to say, hey, they're a second half football team, can't count them out, but then after that third quarter, it was all Morgan Park. Now it was the first half that was stronger for the Redbirds. Kyle with the handoff, brought down from behind there by Jacob Ware. Approaching 5 minutes left to play. So again, it's, back to revisit our local team still alive. Normal Community, Peoria High. I don't think there's going to be anyone left in 6A despite us qualifying 4 area teams. Washington lost, Bloomington lost, Normal West lost, and then Dunlap lost last week. In 5A, it'll just be Metamora after this game. 4A, P&D is out, so that leaves Normal U High as the lone class 4A team. Eureka plays tonight. Tri-Valley is looking like they might lose, so only a handful of teams left. Farmington as well down in 2A. Pass is complete. Nice completion. And he hung on to it as well. What a catch along the sidelines there from Eden Cote.
That was best pass of the day from maybe even either side. I mean, Morgan Park's had some tough ones to beat, but that was an absolute bomb to the corner pylon. Very nice catch by Cote to hold on to it. Did fumble it at the last second, but it went out of bounds. So stays Redbirds football.
I was going to say, unless my eyes deceived me, I thought I did see that ball pop out, but it did go out. So Cote's big catch sets up Metamora at the 1. Chance for a late score here. Cote is just wide open. No one guarding him. They'll still hand it off. It's a plow up the middle. And it is touchdown Redbirds.
There you go.
Evan Kyle plunges it in for his 12th rushing score of the season.
You leave it out there, like I said. It looks like Metamora is doing just that.
Makes it 55-27. See if Metamora goes for 2 or kicks the PAT. They've done about an equal amount of both this season. And they will just go for the 1. That's Kyle's first touchdown of the game and his first in quite some time, Dalton. He had multiple touchdowns in just about every game this season leading up to about week 8. And he was held out of the end zone in week 8, week 9, week 10. Breaks the drought there.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense because, I mean, he's the guy they go to when they get into the red zone, and he's that one that can really plow through that first line and second line of defense. So it makes sense that he has all those touchdowns, and makes even more sense that he scored 1 here.
He's going to finish his senior season with right around 1,000 rushing yards. He came into today with 901. And his faces steady diet. No carries so far today. Kick is through. Couple bodies hit the floor. Cue the song there is Mustangs trying to block that one from Sopko, but it's 55-28. As the rain starting to come back down here at Malone Field. Scoring Drive brought to you by Papa John's. I want to give a huge shout out to all of our hardworking crew helping you bring today's broadcast, especially our camera operators out in the rain. Those are our real MVPs: Kayla Hollowell, Mark Wagner, Nicholas Giuseppe. Again, our director, Teddy Ball, producer, Owen Dimful, Ben Tapp out here taking pictures in the rain as well. Hopefully he's keeping that camera dry right now. I can't see him, but he better be, I think at this point he can retreat to the safety of the booth up here.
Probably. I wouldn't have any issues with that, and certainly wouldn't blame him. So yeah, rain held off for a majority of the game. I guess that's all you can ask for in a middle of November day in Central Illinois.
And this is a point we haven't brought up yet, Dalton. The rain is really starting to come down now. As you know, Morgan Park, they are kind of the standard bearer in terms of Chicago public schools for the playoffs. I'm sure that they're going to be have a lot of teams supporting them that aren't even Morgan Park fans. Maybe teams like Simeon, Kenwood, Lane Tech. All those guys are probably rooting for Morgan Park because hey, they're representing the city. And, Morgan Park is one of the few teams in Chicago, in the city, CPS schools, that have consistently found success in the playoffs, and this year's been no different.
Yeah, in a similar way where we were looking at, okay, what Peoria area teams are still in it. They're doing the same thing. They're probably scoreboard watching and seeing, Morgan Park's up on Metamora, good, that's good for Chicago. It's good for CPS. It's good for our geographic area. So they're doing the same thing in rooting for the schools that are their neighbors.
So the Mustangs take over at the 48. Looks like there's a new quarterback in for Morgan Park. Marcus Thaxton's day is through. It is now R.J. Smith, the freshman, getting some snaps. And we've seen multiple freshmen on the field for Morgan Park here today, Dalton. And we saw back in 2021, freshmen started that playoff game. They have to get guys going on the fast track.
Yeah, absolutely. And might as well get them in there with the big lead in playoffs. Get them some playoff experience, even if it isn't a blowout. You might as well. And with the rain going down, I would imagine Smith's one job is to take the snap and hand the ball off to whoever's standing next to him.
Probably just going to see a couple runs here. 3 wide receivers. Rather, 4 wideouts for Morgan Park. And it's going to be a keep by R.J. Smith. He's got the first down and more.
Look at those wheels.
Pushed out by Bittner at the 35. Pickup of 17 there. So, and R.J. Smith, probably the heir apparent to Thaxton, the senior quarterback. Now the big offensive lineman in there for Mustangs now. Number 77, Noah Gordon, 6'4", 350.
My goodness.
Line up at right guard right now. It is a intimidating to line up against if you're the Redbirds defensive line.
I'd imagine Gordon would probably be a part of Morgan Park's O-line next year.
I would probably safely assume so with that size. Just mowing guys out of the way. I mean, he just manhandled the guy, just completely just swept him out of the way and pick up of a couple yards there from the tailback.
Yeah, you could teach all you want about technique on the O-line, but you really can't teach 6'4", 350. So,
Jamarius Andrus is the sophomore running back in the game now for the Mustangs, getting some carries.
Get everyone some touches in the playoffs.
And these Morgan Park, second stringers and backups, they've been able to get lots of run this season because of how large Morgan Park's win margins have been. Again, you look at what they've done this year: 54-0, 42-0, 50-7, 48-0, 62-0, 42-6. I mean, these guys are probably coming in and playing most, if not all, of the fourth quarter every single week.
Yeah, I mean, that's good reps, and that's probably why Morgan Park continues to have so much success. It's because they're the guys that are, quote unquote, next up. They get reps. They get plenty of reps and opportunities to kind of figure out how this high school game works.
Clouds and rain subsiding just a bit. Sunny but rainy. I call this a Colorado rain shower, Dalton. You ever been to Colorado before?
I've never been to Colorado. I'd love to go, though.
Weather out there, it can be completely clear 1 minute, and then out of nowhere, it'll start raining really hard. And a big tackle there in the backfield. And a storm there started Number 50 for Metamora, that was Zach Doty, senior lineman, getting a last tackle in his swan song. But going back to my point, weather just changes on a dime, and so often when it rains, it's nice and sunny outside. It kind of looks how it looks right now.
I'm looking around for a rainbow because this is prime rainbow weather.
This is prime rainbow weather, exactly. You would be correct. And Morgan Park has certainly found the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and that is a quarterfinal berth. And will host either Morris or Highland. Morris, a team that lost to Peoria High earlier this year, 58-52. Kind of had a rough end of the regular season, but have convincing win in the playoffs. And Highland has had a strong season as well. And Metamora will send off some of their seniors.
Yeah, lots of Metamora faithful getting on their feet. One last round of applause for their guys leaving the field for the last time.
Some guys on the field now for Metamora. Try to get you their names. Eli Simmons, Brad Schalk, Gavin Ryan out on the field. As Jared Grebner shares an embrace with one of his Redbirds. That is Avery Grebner, his son. Wow, what a moment that is.
That's a tearjerker.
You know it's going to happen someday, but you never want to expect it or prepare for it. And he also hugs Cam Nickel as well. Boy, what a contributions he's made to this Metamora program over the last 4 years and beyond. Jadon Cranford coming off the field. He'll be coming back, though, next year alongside Stephen Petrie.
There you go. I mean, if you're Metamora, another disappointing second-round loss, but at least you're coming back with your starting QB and arguably your best running back. That's at least something.
Flag there on the play, and again, this Grebner and Grebner father-son duo has just been one of the power duos, you could say, of the Mid-Illini. Also, not the only head coach and son in this Pekin. Got Doug Nutter and his son Hudson Nutter, who is also a senior for them this season. So going to be some tough goodbyes for these head coaches and their sons as Morgan Park punts it inside the 5. Bounces into the end zone for a touchback. Now we'll see Metamora's offense finish this one out. Minute 40 again. Glad you stuck with us here on CIProud.com, our WMBD game of the week. It's been so nice to see Morgan Park again. Talking with their head coach, Chris James, nothing but a class act. Had lots of fun getting to know him, as well as just seeing this team play. We saw them back in 2021 against Peoria High. That was one of the best football games I've ever seen. And I was really enjoying getting the fact I get to see them again, as well as Metamora, too. It's always fun coming here and seeing the Redbirds, especially in the playoffs. There's just something different about playoff football here in Metamora.
Right. Everybody just gets up because of the tradition. And I mean, what they've won 2/3, give or take, of their playoff games throughout the school's very, very rich history. So it just means more, and they're always a team that finds their way into the playoffs and finds a way to get at least one win.
Savion Roberts played in the final whistle. Big tackle there. And, what's really interesting to me is, we saw that graphic earlier about the playoff comparison between these two teams. Metamora has 18 quarterfinal appearances in 38 playoff berths. That's nearly half the time they reach the playoffs, they reach the quarterfinals. That is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's pretty much unheard of. It's pretty efficient for Metamora when they get to the playoffs. Of course, I think.
And you're going to look at all the playoff berths there. Wow.
Beautiful.
It's quite the long list.
Yeah, last championship came in 2009. Hey, I would love to get back there. And I think another state championship is certainly in the near future for Metamora.
Phenomenal directing work there by Teddy Ball and our camera crew. They got some spidey sense. They must have heard us talking about that.
Something like that, yeah. I glance over and they're showing the exact thing that we're talking about. That's how we do it here at CSM.
And this is how Morgan Park football does it. They made the 2-hour trip, got here 26 minutes before kickoff. and laid a beating on Metamora 55-28. What a phenomenal game from a fast, experienced, athletic Mustangs team. What a game from Terrence Gurley, Nasir Rankin, and the Morgan Park defense. Everyone came to play for the orange and green.
Yeah, and the first half for Morgan Park was just kind of feeling out Metamora. You know, what are they going to pass the ball at all? When are they going to pass the ball? Who are they going to go to offensively? And then they just come out in the second half. To Coach James's credit, whatever he said in the locker room worked like magic. They just put the hurt on the Redbirds to send them packing. Morgan Park to the quarterfinals.
Morgan Park 10-1, moving on back home to take on either Morris or Highland in the Class 5A quarterfinals. For Metamora, the road ends here on their home field with a record of 7-4, another strong season. Hats off to the Redbirds. One more quick break here from CIProud.com. We'll wrap things up and recap this one. Look ahead to next week right after this.
Central Illinois has voted, and WMBD is still your local election headquarters.
We'll keep you updated on what you should know. Polls
are busy here. You live in this country to vote.
It's our chance to voice what we believe in.
WMBD was there at the start of the campaign.
Team coverage all across the state. The overall atmosphere is pretty positive.
The numbers started to come in.
And we were there until the last vote was counted.
We, the golden age of America.
WMBD News, proud to be your local election headquarters.
And welcome back to Metamora. Morgan Park celebrates a 55-28 win. Teams taking their time going through the handshake lines. Nothing but respect between these two programs. We saw a good, clean game here today for the most part. And again, Morgan Park, a fair and square winners. And they'll celebrate the win. Interesting tradition that Morgan Park does is head coach Chris James gives his chain to the player of the game. He's got a nice big diamond chain on his neck, and he gives it to one of his players. Not sure who he's going to give it to, but we're going to give our player of the game, brought to you by Perfect Choice Exteriors, to number 36, Terrence Gurley, their running back for Morgan Park. Running back had 1, 2, 3, 4 touchdowns to lead the Mustang offense.
Yeah, quite a few options. And you're going to have that when you score 55 points. A lot of options for player of the game, but Gurley was so consistent. Whenever Morgan Park's offense would come to a standstill, which wasn't very often, they could rely on Gurley to make the right move when he gets that ball in the backfield and pick up some positive yardage. And yeah, got his jersey ripped off. He didn't let that bother him in the slightest. Went out there and scored some more touchdowns.
He started the game as number 5, ended it as number 36. 4 touchdowns for Terrence Gurley. That brings him up to 15 on the season. What a year that he's had. Marcus Saxon and Nasir Rankin also played great as well. How about those catches, too, from Rankin? Those catches that Rankin had were ones that just, I feel like that was when we really knew that, okay, this Morgan Park team is the real deal in that second quarter.
Rankin really showed you what a 4-star best junior in the state of Illinois really looks like. And, man, he really put the hurt on Redbirds in the first half with that passing game, and that combined with Gurley and combined with Thaxton, really, really good stuff from Morgan Park's offense. A lot of ways they can hurt you, and they're going to continue hurting their opponents well into the future, I believe.
Gurley's final line, courtesy of our statistician here in the Metamora Press Box, doing a great job. 11 rushes for 164 yards and 4 touchdowns. It's more than 10 yards a pop. He's going to be tough to stop for the Mustangs. They run off the field and they escape the rain. They escape victorious from Metamora. And again, just what a season for the Redbirds. Always a playoff contender. I'm sure they'll be back, trying to go deeper in the playoffs and reach that quarterfinal berth. And again, hats off to all of their seniors. Lots of them, including Landon Cowper, their left tackle, Eden Cote, Avery Grebner, Riley Jackson, Mark Frederick, Cam Nickel, Evan Kyle. And the list just keeps on going on. Brad Schalk, Shea Seals, Liam Udell, Will Mishler, Brandon Batters, Cam Burns, Luke Goforth, Zach Doty, Landon Schneider, Kevin Barker, Jacob Akama. Certainly hope that he is doing okay. Ethan Robinson, Owen Cleland, Landon Cowper, we mentioned, Brennan Tabor. All of the seniors from Metamora who see their career come to an end in front of their home crowd. Metamora, though, still got to be proud. They put up a good fight.
Yeah, absolutely. There's really not much to hang your head about. I know, of course, your season comes to an end early, but that's the reality of high school football in the playoffs. You get two really good teams like these two teams. Unfortunately, one of them's got to lose. There's got to be a winner that goes on, but Metamora football will be back and better than ever. They'll be back at the playoffs, probably winning a game again.
Well, 3 years ago, after Morgan Park's win over Peoria High, I heard their quarterback yell, "Morgan Park is back." And the Mustangs are back again, this time in the 5A quarterfinals. 55-28, your final score from Metamora. One more time for our entire crew: Nicholas Giuseppe, Kayla Hollowell, Mark Wagner, Teddy Ball, Owen Dimple, Ben Tapp, and my broadcast partner, Dalton Carmine. I'm Jonathan Michael saying so long and good night from Metamora. Mustangs are moving on.